All right. It begins. It begins. Let me get going. Let's see here. Chat should be up. Should probably let everybody know that we're starting. Give me a moment while I do that. Begins. At everyone. Okie dokie. Oh, what the heck? I didn't want that. Let me edit the video. I swear, I set this thing in the automated system and it just doesn't do it. It's like, I don't know what I'm doing. There we go. I had a whole thumbnail and everything. I had a whole thumbnail. So doing it? Come on, do it. Do the thing. Let me look at the live. Let me see. Okay, yeah, looks good. Okay. Why is it using the old thumbnail? Just remove the embed. Come on, do the embed. Do the embed. Man. Whatever. It's fine. It's fine. All right. We got what? 30 minutes? 30 minutes and then we show up for this guy's debate. Speakeazy podcast or whatever the heck it's called. I really should know more about these podcasts. I attract all sorts of unsavory attention, but how else are you going to challenge people on the right if you don't go on their spaces? I swear half the time they're too afraid to call. Too afraid. Okay. Let's take a look here. I got to make sure that this is working. That McGibson says, hey, yo, hello, welcome. We're just starting up. It's rather quiet right now, but hopefully it won't be in shortly. Let me set up this. Oh, cool. It does it already. Look at me. Look at me. Who is more politically violent, the left or the right? I don't even know who I'm debating. Joe Jitsu says, what would you categorize your political worldview as? I am a secular, humanist, liberal, progressive. Yeah. And the reason why I am those things is because I observe the countries that have the highest quality of living standard are in fact progressive societies that are secular. Think closer to like the Netherlands. It's like that. Here, I'm gonna just have it self with chat for now. Since we got a little bit of time, I don't mind answering any questions, any thoughts before we get started on the debate. Dude, can I just say, last time I did this debate, a debate like this on the Speakeazy podcast, I was not talked to in a friendly tone. And I think it was, I don't remember what it was. I think it was a trans topic, if I'm not mistaken, on the Speakeazy podcast. And naturally, I argued in favor of trans people. And the response, I think, like that I got when it all ended, they were like, "Oh, would you like to be in like the open forum and just hang out and talk?" And I was like, "All right, is it going to be like a bunch of hate-filled assholes, or are they going to say something like, are they going to be like, oh, good job?" I was like, all right, I'll join, just in case. Right from the gate, dude, the immediate personal attacks. Jojitsu says, did you move to this view over time? If so, what made you move? Yes, I did move to this view over a long period of time. I think I probably started my political journey roughly around 15 years old, trying to learn as much as I could about politics. I'm now 36. And so I've been on a kind of a very long journey. I mean, I used to be a Republican and then I switched to a libertarian. And now I am none of those things. I'm just a progressive Democrat. I argue that basis because I do believe that it leads to the best outcomes. I think that society gets better when we try to take care of people and ensure the most equitable society so that way people can flourish. What made me move? Reading. I just kept reading. I mean, I've read all sorts of things. I mean, I've gone from reading Kropotkin to Mein Kampf. I've read so much. I've read the Gulag Archipelago. I've even read Jordan Peterson's book. I've read books by Ron DeSantis, Kristi Noem, Obama, Nancy Pelosi, lots of Bob Woodward books. And there was just a level of pragmatism that I started to adopt after I started understanding more and more perspectives. So that's where I'm at right now. Why don't I play some music while we wait? We still got a little bit to go. We got about 30 minutes. ATL Clutch says, personal attacks, not good, Discord. Let me see here. Where is my... I'm going to put on some Final Fantasy X music just while we wait and chill, I guess. Let's do this one. Sure. So, how are y'all doing? Normally I stream 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursdays, and I often do so on weekends. The only difference today is the fact that I got invited to the Speakeazy podcast, and they were like, oh, can you do Monday? I'm like, all right, sure, why not? But here, I'll show you. Here's like the beginning slide, so you can see that I spent some time actually prepping, because last time I went onto the Speakeazy podcast, I did no prep. There was no prep. I was just like, what's the topic? Like, I think like 30 minutes prior to me showing up. No, I think what it was that I didn't put on my calendar that I was supposed to speak that day. And I think the day that they booked me was like a month out. So naturally, I completely forgot about it. Biavora says, the debate starts now. ATL Clutch says, just make sure you properly define the right. Like as in what? I mean, I'm imagining like the right as in MAGA. That's like the modern right. Correct? The MAGA types. Hell, I would even include ethno-nationalists as a part of that. Which is, I mean, if you really look at the data, just overall, it's not a question as to whether or not which one causes more violence, is overwhelmingly the right. It's not even close. I've looked at so many statistics on this, and my intro is going to show it, but I don't want to give it away. But it's coming. It'll be there for the intro. Oh, bro, get this. This podcast that I'm going on, they have this intro. It's 3 minutes long. It's this really long intro, and it's like a bunch of crusaders like charging in. And I'm like, this is not a good time in history, right? Where we like subjugated a bunch of Muslims. Like the Christians just did some giant holy war. But no, this guy loves that kind of a look. So, albeit for them to decide that that's what they want. I mean, whatever, it is what it is. ATL Clutch says, MAGA is the right. Yes. I miss when the right was like just a bunch of fuddy-duddy fiscal conservatives that said, government, get out of the way. Let the free market decide. I mean, those are really harmful ideas. But I would venture to say that's far less harmful than what MAGA is doing right now. Which says, hey, Mender, you sexy soy boy. Good day, everybody. Thank you. Hopefully I'm going to look good enough for them. They're going to come at me. They'll be like, you look like a soy boy. Why would we listen to you? That's funny. Anyway, my slideshow is ready. I want to play some video games while we wait. But I've got maybe 20 minutes. What am I going to do in 20 minutes? Baviora says, so when does the debate actually start? 8 o'clock. It's currently 7:37. So we got about 20 minutes to go. I mean, if you want to have, we could do some practice. Throw me some questions. Come at me, and I'll respond. I'll rebut. Which says, who are you debating? No clue. No idea. The Speakeazy podcast guy didn't tell me who it was, and I'll be honest, it doesn't matter. I don't care. Also, bro, let me just tell you. I think it was in the morning, like 3 or 4 days ago, where it was like, I woke up and I saw this big pimple on my lip. And I was like, ugh. So I like pop it. And shortly thereafter, like a bunch of little, like, I don't want to gross you out, but like fluid, little tiny bits of fluid on my lip. I'm like, why? Why? And now I just have this wound, this like gaping wound. Part of me wants to just put on some makeup and hope that nobody notices. Thankfully, nobody noticed last time. I mean, I don't know. Maybe they're saying I got herpes or something. I don't let's see. ATL Clutch says, what exactly does MAGA do? LOL. Discriminate against minorities? Foment hatred and violence that then potentially causes a race war? argue things that are empirically false, and then when presented with the empirically false statement, instead of talking about the relevant statistics, talk about some non sequitur? That's what the MAGA does. They do that all the time. Ooh, we could take this moment to troll people on Twitter. Do you guys like trolling people on Twitter? I got a new picture that I've posted that really pisses people off. Here, I'll show you. Where's my Chrome? I'm going to show my Chrome. Hold on a sec. I got a new post. I'm cooking. Listen, chat, I'm cooking. This is so true. And it is so rage-inducing. Jojitsu says they'll bring up Charlie Kirk trans school shooters. Yes. They will bring up Charlie Kirk, and but unfortunately I have statistics. There's also the George Floyd riots during the BLM protests. Oh, I'm sure. But interestingly enough, when you actually look at the entirety of BLM protests, the ACLED was able to confirm that, in fact, a majority of them were not violent. Now, with that being said, were there a minority of protests that led to property damage? That's true. But I'm curious if they would be willing to say that destruction of property is operating at the same level as, say, the death of Charlie Kirk. Would they refer to it as violence? Would they count? Okay, Charlie Kirk death, that's one. Destroying a business and its window, that's also one. Do you see the problem here? Obviously, one of these things are not equal to the other. Let's see. ATL Clutch. That is not true. Your perspective is way off. What is MAGA violence? Where is the MAGA violence or promotion of it? All of Twitter. Have you been on Twitter? And I do have I will have a, I don't want to give away like what I've got, but I've got there's so much stats on this. It's not even funny. It's insane. Excadriller says, bro, what's wrong? You don't like my meme? Do you not like my meme? I made that in Photoshop. They are. What do you want? They are. I don't know what to tell you. All right, let me see here. I mean, you could just like pull out like stuff like this that's like designed to like just piss off people on the, like just piss people off. ATL Clutch says Twitter isn't real, bro. Yeah. Are you aware that there's also relevant statistics on this? What is that song? There we go. Next one. Are you aware of that part? Let's see here. See right here. Here's an example. Just trying to create just as much transphobia as physically possible as usual. Look at this. This is crazy. Look at this. Look at this freaking Nazi shit, dude. This fucking white supremacist Nazi shit. These motherfuckers, I just want to let you know, these pieces, these unironic, like troglodyte pieces of garbage, I just want to point out, they are vying for a race war. They want to see the West fall. They want to see the United States fall. They want the idea of kicking out brown people from society. And they want to normalize that. I want to let you know, these basement-dwelling troglodytes and every single one of these motherfuckers commenting like this is normal. Fuck these people, bro. Look at this. They're comparing a freaking, it looks like I think that's a chimpanzee. They're comparing a chimpanzee to humans. Is this even a, look at this, white lives matter. Fuck these people, dude. Fuck these people. They're all over the place and they vie for a race war. They're itching. They're seething. They want to, I love it's an account based in Guatemala. Oh my God. The guy's not even white. What should we call this color? I don't know. A black girl? That doesn't even look real. Does that even look real to you? Hold on. Here we go. Let me see here real quick. Let's just see okay, so at least this account is based in the United States. But also, I'm just going to post as a reply. No, you racist POS. Only people who like you are bot accounts and you vie for a race war that will destroy the West as you know it. You are a basement-dwelling troglodyte who needs to get some black friends. Heartsy emoji. Reply. Oh boy. Alpha Eagle coming in with the facts from the Heritage Foundation. Those very empirical facts. 19 deaths were caused by BLM riots, with 1,000 to 6,000 additional homicides following the protests, according to the Heritage Foundation. Look at you reading. You're so close. You poor, sweet summer child. You're so close. Don't mix whites with colors. Fuck y'all, racist AF POS. Just, I bet you can't say crap like this in public. I heart cards at Teddy's. These people are troglodytes. These people deserve, they literally deserve a swift kick in the nuts. Fuck these guys. Fuck these racist pieces of garbage, bro. Look at this. I love it, right? People who are laughing at the idea or celebrating the idea that trans people are being killed. Meanwhile, guys, the right isn't violent. Actual fucking morons, bro. I don't know what to tell you how dumb these people are. They're dumb. They're dumb. All right, we got what? 13 minutes till? ATL Clutch says, trolling is not violence. Alpha Eagle, prove me wrong. How many deaths did BLM cause? We're going to go over them. We're going to be going over it. You'll see. You will be proven wrong. Have you noticed that women who support Trump are always smiling and happy, and the women who hate Trump are always scowling and angry and usually ugly? Cheers to your body dysmorphia, you right-wing troglodytes. I love these. I love writing to these. Hell yeah. Based. Trans girls are real girls. Based. Based AF. Keep doing you. Based. Hell yeah. Let's go. It's crazy to think that 84 years ago, 16-year-olds had the balls to fight in World War II, but today 16-year-olds cry about having balls. Why are you fantasizing about children's genitals? All right. Let's start up StreamYard, y'all. We're starting it up. Let's get it going. Let's get it going, chat. Boop. Visit the site. Oh, jeez. Entering the studio. I don't know. Let me hide that for now because I don't know what it's showing. Yeah, we're just gonna continue there. Entering the studio. Oh, crap. I got to do the virtual camera. Continue as first amender. Okay. And then the microphone should be set. Camera looks good. Audio. We're going to set the microphone to the MV7. We are not automatically adjust. Do not adjust. I swear to God, do not adjust my microphone volume. Absolutely not. Do not do that. I will be livid. Holy crap. Enter studio. Okay. I think we're ready to start. All right, hold on a sec. Where the Pepper? Look at what my cat was just about to knock over my shelf. I got here the original Frogger. The original Frogger on the Atari 2600 wrapped. Isn't that cool? All right, well, let me put that back. Let's see here. Excadriller says, honestly, I do not give an F about this prompt. It does not interest me at all. Okay. Buds McCool says, what's up, everyone? Here to hear a mender's case that the left is less violent than the right. Yes. I have done a good deal of research on this. So we should be good to go. Right now I am backstage, I guess. This ought to be interesting. Maybe I should give me one quick second. Just going to use the bathroom, refill my drink. Hang tight. Oh, I'll play some music. Battle music. Hell yeah. Let's go. All right. We're back. Let's see. Bud says the right is usually religious based, and I doubt you can say that Twitter trolls encompass the entirety of the right political side. Oh, don't worry. My ammo is not, hey, look at Twitter. That is not my ammo. Who is more politically violent, the left or the right? Mads Max Payne says, the left is gay, the right is fake and gay. I'll take it. That's pretty funny. I was expecting that to go one direction, but no, you went the funny route, and I'm here for it. I'm here for the funny. Cry about it. That's great. It's funny. I've tried everything. What else can I use on my face? How much you want to bet that there's going to be a bunch of right-wing haters going to be like arguing at her because they're black? Ah, yeah, see? Like I said, I didn't even have to try. These are women who say they won't date right-wing men. There are also... Did you know that there are also pretty women on the left? You are aware that plenty of left-wing women look freaking bomb, right? Have you been to a yoga class? They be eating the salads and shit and looking great. Excadriller says, yo, that is a man. Okay. And? What's your point? What the fuck? What? Is this guy actually like... Is this person just an idiot? Does this guy actually posted this and was just like, that seems smart. I wonder if I should like get like a light, like a flashlight, and then like just point it at a wall and notice that there's light on the wall. How did that light get there when the flashlight is over here? All right, I'll do it. Imagine pointing a flashlight at a wall and saying, but the flashlight is on the other side of the room. How did the light get to the wall? Holy crap, you are dumb. What are you doing? Listen, don't do this. I'm on the left and I say, don't do that. Queen of Coal, a movie about a man pretending to be a woman fighting the patriarchy, is set to release Netflix this month. If you haven't already, now would be a good time to cancel Netflix. Oh, I think are we ready? Hold on. I think stream's starting. Are we going? Is it? Just gonna play the music while. By the way, FYI, the music that plays on the intro is really freaking loud. I can't do anything about it. I don't know. Maybe I'll just like manually turn down Chrome, I guess, in the volume mixer while it runs. I don't know, man. Amender, what do you think about Netflix trying to buy Warner Brothers and HBO Max? I don't like the monopolization of just all industries. I think there needs to be competition in order to have a working system. So no, I'm not too happy. Alpha Eagle thinks that there's a 50% chance that a left-wing woman has a dick, you know, displaying his idiotic transphobia and his perpetually stuck on the internet brain. He thinks that trans people are that common, and he does so by applying his just blatant transphobia. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. I mean, you know, it's quite often when I observe that somebody is transphobic, that secretly they cannot get enough trans porn. They are addicted, bro. This is why they always crash Grindr. All of like the anti-gay bigots, they be crashing Grindr anytime they get together, bro. Golfing fan says the right is crazy. Agreed. True. Spitting some facts. Excadriller says Amender invents a new level of gay every day. Oh yeah, you know it. The right-wingers that specifically perpetuate homophobia and transphobia, but then secretly jerk off to trans porn and gay porn. You know who you are. You know what you're doing. Oh, man. Amender is the new level of gay. Let's go. You'll start seeing me put on makeup. I won't even like think differently. I'll just look at you straight, fully with makeup. I don't even give a fuck. It'll be great. Yo, where is this? I thought I was supposed to. Now this guy is late. How do I speak on stage? Excadriller says Amender probably has a human centipede fetish. Jesus Christ. Damn, bro. Do that. You will lose viewers. More like gain viewers. Golfing fan says, I keep asking MAGA if Trump reduces a drug that cost $100 by 700%, how much will it cost? They can't do basic math like their dear leader. What did you just divide that by 7? Isn't that basically would be 700%? You would just divide it by 7, right? So it'd be like somewhere around $14. Base got flashy says, all the shit they say about liberal women is BS, considering how many conservative podcasts bitch about women on dating apps rejecting their politics and men lying about their politics to get them. True! Yeah, it turns out that when you get out there in the dating world that they don't like that Chad, I'm better than you mentality. They actually like want like somebody who's well adjusted and like a human being and treats them equally. Golfing fan says, no, they would owe you $600. I guess like I'm thinking about it in the realm of like, I guess compounding, I guess. That's funny. Oh yeah, it says reduce. Excadriller says. Alpha Eagle says, so I'm right. There is no right-wing sources that say that. 100% of the total sum. You can't reduce anything more than 100%. The drug company... True. Okay, yes. You're right, Golfing. You're right about that. Uh, 8:30 start time. Looks like Fredo is your opponent. 8:30? He told me it was 8. He told me it was 8. It wasn't 8:30. He never told me it was 8:30. Oh, no. Yeah, 7:38. He says, "Hey man, huge apology. I have to push the stream back by 30 minutes. I got caught in traffic on the way home from family dinner with my grandfather for his birthday." Okay. Excadriller says, "Math isn't even hard. I just can't read." I was never the best at math. I got past my calculus class and I was like, phew. And thankfully I did not. Bud says, "Amender, don't you think right-leaning people are like left-leaning people, i.e. mostly center?" No, I don't. Golfing Fan says, "Trump said the F-35 is invisible to the eye." And MAGA believed it. Eddie Murphy did a movie about an invisible jet and Trump now believes it. All right, let's keep on trolling Twitter, shall we? Let's troll Twitter. Here we go. We're trolling Twitter, chat. Maybe we should deport racist fucks like you. You aren't compatible with the American experiment. Ooh, I got a notification. Nice. If you don't find this attractive, you're probably fat phobic. Or just not your type? Who fucking cares? Why do you gotta be an asshole to people? Here, I'll be nice. There, I covered up the... Golfing Fan says, "Always ask MAGA about how they feel about Melania's lesbian porn." I gotta take some lessons from you, Golfing Fan. That's good shit right there. Ooh, I got 5 notifications. What just happened? Imagine. Hell yeah, let's go. JSTK Union followed me? Who is this guy? Hey, yo, this guy's for reposting my stuff. I'm here for it. The Snow White we all wanted? Wasn't she like 15? Wasn't she like 15 in the movie? Why you gotta be weird? Why you gotta be weird? That's a genuine question. Why you gotta be weird? Golfing Fan says, she said in her book that she was proud of her sexuality. Maybe that's what drew her to Is that actually... Wait, hold on. Hold on. Is that actually Robert F. Kennedy? I do not believe that. I do not believe that's Robert F. Kennedy. 20 pull-ups? No, fuck off. No, you're not. I don't believe this for a second, dude. That guy did 20 pull-ups? I don't believe that for a freaking second, dude. Do you guys actually believe this? I don't believe this, bro. Let me see. Yeah, look at that. His face is changing. Oh, okay. Sorry. This is the, yeah, let me just, he's so good at pull-ups that his face changes. ATL Clutch says it's real. No, you're not doing 20 pull-ups at 70, dude. Going live to go over your Twitter feed is pretty gay. Well, I never said I was straight. I'm just killing time before the stupid show starts. I'm killing time. Oh. Yeah, 20, just FYI, 20 pull-ups, that is insane. That is insane in your 20s, bro, let alone 70. And I don't believe for a freaking second this guy did 20 pull-ups. I don't believe it. Base Got Flashy says, you know, he takes steroids, right? Does he? I don't know. Probably. Is it for his brain worm? To Watch Vid says he's done that in a bunch of videos. Really? Has he? I do not believe... Dude. I'm sorry. This guy is literally changing his face as he's doing pull-ups. You're going to tell... I don't believe that. This looks like AI. I'm telling you. There ain't no freaking way this guy did. Either that or he's got a freaking box and a spring underneath. I don't even see the bottom of his legs. I don't believe this guy can do 20 pull-ups. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Tell you what. Why don't I look it up? We'll look it up. All right? Just for fun. I'll look it up. I'll be good. I'll do my homework. All right. Let's see here. See here. Okay, so apparently he had done some sort of a Pete and Bobby challenge, doing 50 pull-ups along with 100 push-ups in under 10 minutes. Granted, right, that's very good at his age, but it's not 20 pull-ups in a single sitting. In a single, like, dude, that is insane. Most people in their 20s can't even do that. Golfing Van says RFK was on heroin during most of his life. It appears heroin makes you strong. Maybe the brain-eating worm is working on his muscles, like that one episode in Futurama. ATL Clutch says 20 pull-up is only insane if someone that never does pull-ups. I do pull-ups. I could probably do about 6, I'll be honest. I mean, I mean, that's insane. Like 20 that's a lot of freaking pull-ups, dude. That is a lot. Most, I hardly if ever, I don't think I've ever even seen somebody at the gym ever do 20 unassisted pull-ups in one shot. I don't think I've ever observed that. Let me see here. They're not even hiding it anymore. Look at the... Dude, leave it up to right-wingers to secretly want to be a little anime girl. I mean, it's just it's just a Nazi. Leave it up to perpetually online troglodyte chuds to secretly wish to be a little Nazi anime girl. He has a weight of 16 pounds. I weigh 170 pounds. I could probably pull about 6 pull-ups. That's about it, dude. I can't do... I have to, like, take a moment, and then maybe I could do, like, a few more, and then, you know, but, bro, 20 pull-ups in one... That's insane, dude. I think... What is, like the single shot pull-up? Like, what is this... I think, like, 27 is, like, something like a record or something, bro. ATL Clutch says 20 is advanced, but not insane. At 70? No, that is insane. 20 pull-ups at 70 is insane. Look at the Pete Hexas nameplate during the last cabinet meeting. It literally read SS Secretary of War. With SS in front, no joke. Now, if I'm not mistaken, right? Like, we've all seen Pete Hegseth shirtless. Hold on. Hold on. Are you saying this guy? What would tip you off? Dude, all these people are Christo-fascists. I'm sorry. He's just a Christo-fascist. I'm sorry. Like, why do you have a tattoo like that? Are you serious? Guys, it just means I touch my faith to Christ. Yeah, okay. Okay. What a... To watch that says kids in the 90s had to do more than 10 pull-ups just to be at the 85th percentile at 11 years old. Yeah, you weigh like 60 pounds. Yeah, you could probably pull off 10 pull-ups, but it's different when you're like an adult. You know, when you're like 170 plus pounds. Yeah, if you're 200 pounds, show me 10 push-ups or pull-ups. Show me. That is hard as shit. Excadriller says, nah, he loves a plus sign. He loves addition. He's like, I love adding. I love to add. He also has this tattoo here. Guys, he just really likes Latin a lot. To watch Vid says it's really not hard at all. Go to the gym. Go to the gym. Go to the gym. You don't go to the gym. I'm telling you. Go to the gym. Do 20 pull-ups. Tell me that stuff's easy. You can do that in one shot. Go ahead. No, go. Seriously. You got this. Golfing fan says 70 years old and 20 pull-ups is crazy good. I'm 60 and 22 years in military and I can't do it. Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah, that's realistic. Yeah, 20 pull-ups. There ain't no freaking way. I don't believe that for a second. I don't believe it for a second. Let me see what else we got. Look how creepy, like Christians say. Look how creepy, like, these people are. Imagine using AI for the purpose of racism. LOL, you're a clown. To watch Vid says, haha, you go to a gym and you can see people doing it all the time. I go to a gym. I have never seen in the, 5 years of me going to the gym, somebody do 20 pull-ups in one sitting? Never. I have never seen that. Never. Not once. And yes, I do go to the gym. I know I don't look it. But I do. Look. It's developed. I do go to the gym. I do. You see? I'm just saying. Emperor Fat Ass Dog says, did you already have your debate? No. Not yet. We're just killing time until we get the actual debate. Yeah, we're killing time. Golfing fan says, I've gone to the gym my whole life and not one 70-year-old. Search the internet and see how many you find. I mean, I've seen tons of older people at the gym in their 70s. They're not doing 20 pull-ups, let alone a 20-year-old doing 20 pull-ups. To watch Vid says, nah, those are weak baby arms. What do you want, dude? My genes are not, I'm not the strongest, okay? What do you want from me? Hippie Dicky Moon says, algorithm brought me here. What are you about? Are you chill? I don't know if I'm chill. But I do argue progressive values. And if you're about that, welcome. Welcome to the stream. I'm trolling racists on Twitter till we get started with the actual debate. Let's see. What feminists fought for, what they gave up. Man, if only we could get things like unions so bosses can't. Hey, Emperor Fattest Dogs has become a member. You have become a Soy Boy supporter. Welcome. You're part of it. Welcome. Thank you. I appreciate that. Let's see. Man, if only we can get things like you can't do things like this to people. Oh, wait. The right wanted to push away from unions. And now we have corporate overlords that tell us to bend over and we need to take it like it's normal. AWOL says right women are way hotter. I don't know, man. I feel like women on the right are like, they look like Karens. While as like women on the left, they're like going to like yoga and shit. And they're getting like salads. They're looking good. All right. Then stop being racist. Ooh. Hey, I think we're ready. Hello?
Hey.
Hey.
Huge apology to you both. I got caught in traffic on the way back
You're good.
from my grandfather's birthday dinner there.
Did you have
All right,
fun?
let me just put here. Normally I'd put like for and against, but I'll just put you guys on what side you represent. Sorry, give me 1 second. Okay, got that. All right. Do you guys, who would like to go first? Does any of you want to go first?
I have a presentation ready to go. It doesn't matter if he goes first or if I go first.
I'd like to see the presentation. He can go first.
Okay.
All right. Perfect. Let me just get my camera ready here. What's going on? Oh, that's why. Now it should go. Perfect. Alrighty. Is my, let me see something. That's my camera. Oh, okay. Sorry. Let me grab my other water here. Yeah, actually, bring me that.
How you doing, man? You doing all right?
Doing great. I'm going to grab some water too.
Oof,
Hydrate,
all right,
hydrate,
sorry.
lots of talking.
Getting everyone settled. Was losing my voice earlier. All right. And just so to make sure, I mean, you've both done it before, just to make sure though, good with 10-minute opening each, 5-minute uninterrupted rebuttal each, then an hour of open floor, then 5-minute closings, then the 30-minute Q&A. Both good with that?
Yep.
And then I do an after panel. You guys, that's optional for you guys. Do you guys want to stay for the after panel?
Last time I stayed for it, it was a
yeah,
freaking shit show.
Yeah, I
Just
know.
gonna be honest with you.
No, I totally understand. Like, if I'm on a place where everyone's talking over me, I would dip too. So, no, it wasn't no hard feelings or nothing. But yeah, it's up to you. If you want to stay after, maybe if you feel up to it, it's totally up to you. Oh, thank you. Oh, thank you. All right. And then so the way we're gonna start up the show, it does my disclaimer, then the intro. It runs about 2 minutes, and then I'll introduce the show, introduce the prompt, introduce you guys, and then we'll go right into your opening. And then you said you had something to present too?
I do, yeah.
Okay. Awesome. All right. So you both are ready for me to start it up?
Yep.
Yes, sir.
All right, perfect. Thank you both for being here, and let's
Thank you for
get this
having me.
rocking and rolling. This.
Morning. The information shared in these conversations and videos are intended for general knowledge and entertainment purposes only. It should not be considered as legal advice or professional guidance. Additionally, any documentation or references to specific content are solely for the purpose of discussion and understanding. It does not imply endorsement, promotion, or support of said content. The views expressed in these videos and/or conversation are those of the individuals involved and do not represent any official stance or opinion. The content you are about to experience may contain strong language, including explicit words and phrases. This language is used for artistic expression and may be integral to the storyline or character development. It is important to note that the use of such language does not endorse or promote offensive behavior. Viewer discretion is advised, and please enjoy the show responsibly. Disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. The Canadian Copyright Act, Section 29, allows an individual to use copyright-protected materials when creating a new work, such as a mashup, and to post the new work online on a site like YouTube. Fair dealing provision for specific purposes like research, private study, education, parody, satire, criticism, review, and news reporting.
Step up, step up. Yeah, we pledge. We pledge. We pledge.
This is what I needed to turn down. Dude, this is so freaking cringy. Hopefully they can't hear me say that. They probably can't hear that. Like, I gotta... It was so loud last time I did. Like, listen how loud this is. Oh, Jesus. Nope. Nope. That ain't my vibe. That is not my vibe. And this is 3 minutes long. You have to watch this for 3 minutes, bro. It's so cringy. I mean, they got more subscribers than I do. So there's that. Hopefully one day, man, we can rise above that, I guess. But holy crap. Golfing fan says that is childish. I agree. First of all, like, what is it? Like knights? What is it supposed to be? Is it like a Crusaders reference? Just FYI, right? You're not supposed to be proud of that. You should not be proud of the Crusaders, right? You know, like that giant ethnic genocide that was done on the basis of the Pope. Yeah, that's not a proud moment in history. Just FYI. So I get like the romanticization of this, but this ain't it, homie. Just saying.
Welcome, everybody, to Swords of Reason right here on the Speakeazy show, Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. And this is where logic meets passion. If you're new here, the format's simple. Each debater gets 10 minutes for opening statements, followed by 5-minute uninterrupted rebuttals. Then we open the floor for a full hour of back and forth before wrapping it up with a 5-minute closing statement from each side. After that, we'll spend about 30 minutes answering your questions from the chat. I'll drop a live Q&A in the chat that you can put your questions. But during the 30-minute Q&A, the Super Chats, PayPals, and Cash Apps will be getting a priority. And if they fill up the whole 30 minutes, your question may not get answered. So if you really want to make sure your question gets answered or read, send it via Super Chat. After the formal debate is done, we open the doors to the community for a chaos and chill panel where anyone can hop in, challenge, or question. For the debaters, though, this is optional, so the debaters may or may not be here for this part. Today's debate prompt: who is more politically violent, the left or the right? And today's debaters, for one side, we have Fredo Fonzarelli, who's known for his hot topic discussions, political debating, and gaming streams with a channel right here on YouTube you can find in the description. And for the other side, we have the First Amender, known for political and hot topic discussions, and his Debate a Woke Liberal call-in show, also with a YouTube channel right here on YouTube. So you can go and find that in the description as well. So debaters, you already know the rules. And we're going to start with First Amender. And I think you said you had a presentation if you want to present it whenever.
I do.
Yeah, so go ahead and present it.
Give me a moment.
Yeah, no problem. No problem.
Is that working for y'all?
Yeah, I see it. Let me bring it up for us here.
Okay, so this is who is more politically violent, the left or the right? This is a debate with First Amender from YouTube. You can find me at youtube.com/@FirstAmender. What is violence, or define domestic violence extremism? The FBI and Department of Homeland Security define domestic violent extremism as threats involving actual violence. They do not investigate people in the United States for constitutionally protected speech, activism, or ideological beliefs. Domestic violence extremism is defined by the FBI and Department of Homeland Security as violence or credible threats of violence intended to influence government policy or intimidate civilians for political or ideological purposes. This general framing, which includes a diverse activities under a single category, guides investigations and prosecutions. The DOJ quietly had removed some studies regarding this particular topic. You could see right here on Yahoo News, DOJ deletes its own study from a website showing far more domestic terrorism is committed by the far-right extremists. And then again, you could see in The Guardian, the U.S. Department of removes study finding far-right extremists commit far more violence. Report finding right-wing extremists have killed more Americans than other domestic terrorist groups vanished from the DOJ website. And then this is the Princeton University GPIA, in case that anybody thinks that I'm trying to be biased here, the politics of deletion in the Trump era. In September 2025, 2 days after the assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk, the United States Department of Justice quietly removed the 2024 National Institute of Justice study from its official website. So what did the NIJ study say? It's actually a good thing that I have it. What NIJ research tells us about domestic terrorism. Militant, nationalistic, white supremacist, and violent extremism has increased in the United States. In fact, the number of far-right attacks continues to outpace all other types of terrorism and domestic violence extremism. Since 1990, far-right extremists have committed far more ideologically motivated homicides than far-left or radical Islamist extremists, including 227 events that took more than 520 lives. In this same period, far-left extremists committed 42 ideologically motivated attacks that took 78 lives. A recent threat assessment by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security concluded that domestic violent extremists are an acute threat and highlighted a probability that COVID-19 pandemic-related stressors, long-standing ideological grievances related to immigration, and narratives surrounding electoral fraud will continue to serve as a justification for violent actions. There's additional evidence here where you have from the prosecution project showing might is right United States criminal cases involving political violence by ideology. You could see right here that shaded in black is the left. On the right, you have in red Islamist, in dark gray, and in light gray is other. Side note, the prosecution project is a research initiative led by Michael Lodenthal, the University of Cincinnati, that tracks and analyzes felony criminal cases involving illegal political violence, terrorism, and extremism in the United States since 1990. They use open source intelligence and understand patterns of persecution, ideology, and offender characteristics for research and policy makers. It is a credible and unbiased source. But isn't left-wing violence on the left increasing? Yes, but also this. Left-wing terrorist attacks are on the rise. You can see here from 1994 to 2005, or 2025, but in reality, it does not compare, comparatively speaking. However, we have an interesting data source right here. Look, it's lower for 2025. By the way, CSIS data is a bipartisan think tank with scholars that represent varying points of view across the political spectrum. CSIS was founded in 1962 as an affiliate of Georgetown University. This center conducts policy studies and strategic analysis of political, economic, and security issues throughout the world, with issues focusing around international relations, trade, technology, finance, and energy, and geostrategy. The potential bias on the right. You could see here for the left-wing versus right-wing terrorist attacks and plots in the United States, 1994 to 2005. Now, or 2025. You could see right here, 2025, a stunning, sharp decline in the level of violence, specifically among the right. Though the number of left-wing terrorist attacks and plots is experiencing a rise, the effectiveness of perpetrators typically remains limited. Although left-wing perpetrators often carry out their plans, they rarely do so with deadly effect. Two metrics illustrate this dynamic. First, a large share of left-wing plots succeed in becoming actual attacks. In 2025, 5 left-wing incidents that occurred before July 4th, 4 were attacks that carried out, and only 1 was a disrupted plot. This continues as a long-standing pattern. The number of left-wing attacks carried out is typically much greater than the number of plots disrupted. This trend is mirrored in right-wing and ethno-nationalist incidents and is likely influenced by bias in data collection. That is, incomplete public information means disrupted plots are likely undercounted. Ask yourself this logically. Do you believe that right-wing violence has declined lower in the past 31 years, or that the Trump administration is going out of its way to not count instances of right-wing violent extremism, considering that they actively went out of their way to hide data from verified sources? What is the consensus on this? Consensus.app, an AI tool that specifically combs scientific papers and scientific papers only to derive consensus based on multitudes of studies, have found the following, asking the question: who is more violent, the left or the right, in terms of politically motivated violence? Right-wing extremists are generally more likely to engage in politically motivated violence than left-wing extremists, though both sides can exhibit violence under certain conditions. Are right-wing violent extremists more violent than left-wing extremists in terms of politically motivated violence? This requires at least 5 papers to directly answer that question. Comparative findings and empirical data show that large-scale analysis show that left-wing extremists are less likely to use violence compared to right-wing Islamist extremists. In the United States, right-wing and Islamist extremists commit more violent acts, while globally, Islamist extremists are the deadliest, but right-wing violence is more frequent and severe than left-wing violence. Additional studies, right-wing populists and those that with a right-wing authoritarian attitudes are more likely to justify or support political violence than left-wing populists, though radicalization can occur on both sides. Meta-analyses show that right-wing ideological attitudes are consistently associated with higher aggressive tendencies, both in attitudes and behaviors across multiple contexts. And in a contextual variation, in some highly polarized or crisis-ridden societies, both far-left and far-right violence can escalate, often in response to each other, but right-wing violence remains more prevalent in most Western contexts. And here you could observe the table of patterns of politically motivated violence, where right-wing ideology has a higher likelihood of violence in comparison to left-wing. Conclusion. Research consistently finds that right-wing extremists are more likely to engage in politically motivated violence than left-wing extremists, especially in the United States and Western Europe. However, both sides can become violent under certain conditions, and the context, such as polarization or repression, can influence the prevalence of targets of violence. The data is clear. While many point out to individual case scenarios when it comes to understanding political violence, such as Charlie Kirk, the data simply does not support the notion that the left causes more violence than the right, as per Donald Trump's baseless claims. In fact, it is quite the opposite. When taken the largest forms of data sets, that indeed, the right causes more violence at an empirical level. Thank you very much, and you could subscribe to my YouTube channel, First Amender on YouTube.
All right. Thank you for that opening statement. And with that, we're going to hand over the mic to Fredo Fonzarelli. And Fredo, whenever you're ready, I will start the timer up with your voice. And thank you both for being here.
All right, thank you for having me, Speakeazy, and thank you, First Amender, for taking up the contention. It's going to be short and sweet. The left is inherently violent and has shown so ever since we've coined the term left and right in the French Revolution. The left leaving 17,000 officially dead by the guillotine and another 10 to 20K dead in prison or without trial. Take it to the 20th century. Left versus right-wing violence is not even a contest. Communism left about let me see, 60 to 148 million deaths. Some say up to 148 million, including the Stalin era, leaving 62 million dead, the Mao era, leaving 77 million dead, and Khmer Rouge with 2 million, and other like North Korean and Vietnam violence. And they like to point to Nazi Germany and Mussolini and other fascist-aligned dictators in Japan at the region, which only account for about 20 to 40 million. So that's about a 6 times increase in violence there all through the 20th century. And they continue to show their inherent bias for violence in the present day, with such showings as the multiple attempts on a president life and the assassination on one of the most prominent voices on the right, Charlie Kirk, especially with the ICE protests. And they like to point to January 6th, but I like to point to Chaz Chop, where more people actually died as a result of violence, not to mention multiple SA cases in the area. And it was an actual attempt to take an autonomous piece of the city. And as for your studies are inherently biased. They like to mark things as Kenosha shooting as a right-wing activity, spray painting Nazi symbols on a Catholic church as right-wing activity. But whenever somebody shouts and shoots somebody in the middle of the street for explicitly being a Trump supporter, that is not right-wing activity. So I put into question a lot of his sources. I'm sure they're from CISIS, ADL, and those of the like. All of those have been shown to be inherently biased, and their numbers are fudged and thus irrelevant. The left has showed more violence throughout the centuries and continues to show more violence today. Plain in our face, BLM riots left with at least 36 dead, with $2 billion in taxes. And they even had to move his trial because of it. He couldn't be charged in the city. So with that, I'd like to get into the rebuttals.
All right. Thank you for that opening statement. And with that, we'll get into the 5-minute uninterrupted rebuttals. So we'll hand the mic back to First Amender. Whenever you're ready, I'll start the timer up with your voice.
Well, I heard his intro. It didn't really make any sense to me. For starters, bringing up what happened in what? I'm assuming that if you're referring to a French guillotine anywhere around the 1700s to the 1800s, I have no idea what that has anything to do with what is happening today. It just seems like kind of talking about something that nobody is arguing. It's as if I brought up, say, the problem with right-wingers today, and that I bring up the Crusades as a good example. It's really not relevant in today's atmosphere. I wouldn't imagine that people are going to be arguing in favor of the Crusades nowadays, or maybe there are, who knows. But regardless, it's beside the point. You are talking about communism having killed 60 to 80 million. Newsflash, there are no real communists in the United States. It's a completely defunct system. It's not something that's relevant. It's not something that I argue. Attributing communism to what? To left-wingers is just completely insane. They had largely been eradicated out of United States society. I don't even think that you could even adequately define what communism is, being the classless, moneyless, stateless society. I don't even argue this, so it's once again completely irrelevant. As for Chaz or Chop or not, so I argue for contemporary democratic positions, which is going to be like a progressivist lens from a Netherlands, position or something along the lines of a more Netherlands position, which basically just means that I argue in favor of more progressive policies. I'm perfectly okay with there being capitalism. I still consider myself to be on the left, comparatively speaking to most people that are in the United States, because I do argue for progressive policies. So I have no idea what Chaz and Chop means. It's also irrelevant to the statistics, considering the fact that it's already counted in the statistics. And even if you count for Chaz and Chop and BLM and all that stuff, it is also referenced. Now, the next thing that I find very interesting is that it doesn't matter what studies I present. The studies, no matter what, are going to be inherently biased, which means by your very metric, you now effectively have zero falsifiability. Let me ask you this. What would be good evidence to show something that is unbiased? Because I provided a multitude of sources, and most academic sources are agreeing with me. In fact, I would say virtually all academic sources are in my favor here, in that the right causes more violence. Hell, even the Department of Justice was able to find that information and then quietly shut down. But I mean, I guess if it goes against your worldview, it's got to be biased. Am I right? And as for BLM riots, that's mostly property damage. Even if you account for the violence that was caused during BLM, it is still less than that of right-wing violence. And that would be my rebuttal to all of everything you've said.
All right. Thank you for that rebuttal. And with that, we're going to hand the mic back over to you, Fredo, for your 5-minute uninterrupted rebuttal. And whenever you're ready, I'll start the timer up with your voice. Oh, you're muted. You're muted.
Sorry about that. So when we're talking about the late 1700s, the point to be bringing that up is to show the violent history of the left and how it always has been violence all the way up through the communist state, seized the means of production. Does that not sound like violence to you? And so also, I reject wholly the studies that talk about right-wing violence and include Islam as right-wing violence, because that is a religious ideology and not an inherently right-wing ideology. Also, no communists in the United States. There's plenty of people advocating far and wide for communism. The point in bringing up communists is because that's where being left and socialistic minded inevitably leads. Also, it doesn't matter what you argue. The left is the left, no matter how you identify it, or just because you argue for a specific progressive ideology, that doesn't mean that other people that are progressive are not on the left and they don't commit violence. And the particular incidents may be referenced, but they're not cataloged right. And the Crusades were justified. And all your sources align with you. And you say they're not biased, but even Michael Lowenthal, who's supposedly extremely unbiased, is a professor of sociology and social justice at Miami. Like, I'm sure he's unbiased, brother, but we can get into the open discussion.
All right. Thank you for that rebuttal. And with that, we're going to move it over to the open hour discussion for back and forth. Just a quick reminder for the chat. First off, you can find both the debaters in the description. So make sure you go show them both some support for coming out here and giving you some entertainment tonight, okay? And also, we have the live Q&A already up in the chat. So if you guys want to get your questions in there, get them in there. But remember, during the 30-minute Q&A, the super chats, cash apps, PayPals, these will take priority. And if they fill up the whole 30 minutes, your question may not get answered. So if you want to make sure that question gets answered, send it through a super chat. And with that being said, I'll leave it up for you guys. Only thing I'm here to do is make sure we don't get too off the rails or there's not too much talking over each other. And whoever wants to start up this open floor, I'll start the timer with your voice. And again, thank you both for being here tonight.
So, Fredo, if there was, for example, if there were overwhelming amount of studies saying that the left overwhelmingly causes more violent crime, then we wouldn't even be having this discussion. We would just be agreeing with one another, right? Because I look at things from an empirical basis, right? So it's not because something is on the left or on the right. I just look at what the facts show, and then I go in the realm of the facts. So
see, in a
when you
perfect
sit
world,
there
we
and
could
tell me
have all
that I
these
show
studies
you,
and have
if
proper
hold on.
methodology.
Hey, hold on.
All right, you can
If I'm
filibuster
showing-
all day. Get to the
If I'm
point. Jimmy.
if I'm showing you relevant statistics from multiple sources that shows that that the right does cause more violence, what exactly would good evidence that would prove you wrong look like? What does that look like to you?
Evidence that actually uses proper methodology and doesn't include Islam as a major point of its right-wing ideology whenever it's clearly religiously bent and not politically bent.
So, Fredo, are you aware that most of the studies that I've referenced, in fact, I would venture to say every single study that I referenced had a clear separation of Islamic extremism and right-wing violence from an American perspective?
That's fine,
Did
but
you
they
look
still.
at those charts?
Yes, I looked at the charts, but I
Okay.
haven't had time to go through the whole study, the
Yeah, are
methodology,
you aware
how
that
they're
it showed?
how they're categorizing certain things. Like is Luigi Mangione in the study? We can go
Yes.
time and time again. Is the but how is it
Well,
categorized?
there's
Is it
thousands.
categorized
There's
as
thousands of data points, right? Yes, those
is
are
that
also
not
categorized,
is
right?
that is it categorized as left-wing terrorism?
Yes,
It is the Luigi
yes,
Mangione is.
yes,
What about the trans shooter in Tennessee?
yes,
Left-wing terrorism.
yes.
And in which study is that?
There were multitude of studies that showed this. You're just talking
Yes, I
about
know.
individual data points. I'm talking about data
No, I
points
know
in the
because I've
thousands
looked.
of people. When you look at the
I
thousands of people
understand, but
that
I've
commit
looked up a
violence in the
lot of
United
data
States,
points.
it is overwhelmingly the right that is causing that. That is empirically verifiable. In fact, the Department of Justice showed exactly what every university showed, and the
Thousands of
Trump
people in how
administration
long? Thousands of
openly
people in how
tried to
long?
hide that. They just quietly
Thousands of people in
removed
how
it.
long? Thousands of people
Every
in how
year
long?
it's monitored. Every
In
year it's
from right-wing violence
from right. Yes, that's correct. From right-wing violence.
for political ideologies.
Yes.
Okay, and when was the last time one of these events happened?
What? We're talking about
When was the
thousands of
last
data
time
points.
a major right-wing event for a political
I'm
ideology
presenting
happened?
you meta-analysis data of thousands
Every
of
year it
data
happens.
points
Okay,
where it is
yeah, thousands. You got
observable.
thousands to
Where
choose
there have
from,
been
so give me
yeah,
one.
there were those two politicians that died recently. There were Democrats that just died. They ended
That
up
wasn't
dying
from a
to some
right-wing
right-wing
person.
extremists.
He actually
You can look
said
at
Tim
Nancy
Walz- he
Pelosi, who
actually
happened
said
to
Tim
who
Walz
had her
said them.
husband head caved in with a with a
Fucking
hammer.
druggy
There's
weirdo.
tons of
He was a
instances of
liberal. He was
right-wing
a liberal.
violence.
He was fucking Canadian.
He was a
bro.
liberal? He went after
The dude
Nancy
who was
Pelosi
beat
and
up-
it was a
yes.
liberal? Really?
Yes, he was a liberal. He was a
Dude,
gay
you are
liberal.
brain
Yes, sir.
rotted, bro. Can I just start off by saying, right?
All right.
Even if I provided you
attention,
full
bro.
studies with full evidence, right? The problem is that you don't actually have any falsifiability. You're sitting there saying, well,
actually do have
every single
falsifiability,
study
if
that
the
disagrees with
methodology
your
is wrong.
internal worldview must be false and biased and owned by liberals and the universities
No, whenever
just
you
want to
categorize-
frame right
whenever you
wingers.
categorize things like Kyle Rittenhouse as right-wing violence, as right-wing extremism, but
That wasn't. I'm not even sure if that was even included, and I wouldn't even
it absolutely
consider.
was.
I wouldn't
It
even.
absolutely
I wouldn't
was.
even consider Kyle
Then
Rittenhouse.
you don't even
Hey,
talk
stop!
about
That's a single data point. I'm not.
Can I
I'm
answer
not
your
even
question?
considering
You
Kyle
can't
Rittenhouse
interrupt me and get
to
mad whenever
be. I'm not even
cut off.
considering Kyle Rittenhouse to be a right-wing violent
You're not.
extremist.
You're not. But the studies that you referenced are.
What? I don't even know if that's the
Yes,
case.
dude.
This is referencing
you don't know your
thousands
own
of
studies?
data points, thousands of individual data points.
And you didn't look up to any of the studies.
Yes, I did.
Like the ones
What
from
the hell do you
ADO?
think that PowerPoint
I thought
was?
you-
Was that just me just coughing out my ass? Or do you think that I actually
so like
pulled
I-
this up and looked up what it says?
I'm trying to show you a problem in the methodology of your study. You understand? So
Yeah.
they categorize
Yeah. as opposed to
Kyle
you, who's bringing
Rittenhouse
up individual data
right
points,
wing.
as opposed to the thousands of data points readily
you
available
don't
for
understand.
anybody to look at, empirically showing that the
I'm-
right
I'm
causes
showing you
more
a single-
violence.
I'm showing you a single example, but there's even more examples to where they would classify Kyle
Do you understand how
Rittenhouse as
bringing up a
right-wing
single
violence.
example
But Aaron
to thousands
Danielson,
of data points is completely irrelevant?
there's even more and more examples. I've presented 2 or 3, several, even
Let's
all the
try
way up to
this,
here.
right?
There's a clear problem with your methodology.
Let's try this. Let's say, for example,
what?
that I have a study that says, hey, on this road, we have 100,000 cars that get flat tires. And then you go, well, but my car went down that road and I never had the flat tire. Do you understand how stupid that is? Do you understand how stupid that sounds?
Do you understand how stupid 1,000 deaths to right-wing political ideologies in America sounds?
Yeah, it happens every year.
When was the last event?
What? It happens every year. I don't have to bring up a single
when was
event.
the last
There's
event?
multiple
We've
instances
had a
where
whole
this happens.
2025 that you can choose from, brother.
Well, to be fair, right? In 2025, and you'll notice in the
Already
last
brought
chart
up
that I
two
posted that
entails,
there was a
man.
sudden
On the chart,
sharp
but when was the last
decline, a
event?
sudden sharp
When was the last-
drop in quote unquote political violence as soon as the Donald Trump administration. I think personally, in my opinion, I think that the Trump administration
You
is
mean the
actively
president
going out
has
of their
been
way
shot at
to
twice?
not count instances of right-wing political violence to make the right
Like
look
what?
good. That would make
What
make
are they
sense
discounting?
in the
What are
fact
they
that
discounting?
in the 31 past years of counting political
Can you tell
violence
me
among the
specifically
right,
what
that
they are
all of a
discounting?
sudden in 2025 it's the lowest in recorded history. It's total nonsense.
tell me-
You are
can you tell me
hook, line,
specifically
and
what they're
sinker
discounting?
into
Are
total
you talking about the
propaganda, and you
president
look
who
at
got shot at
actual
twice by
verifiable sources such as any university. It doesn't even have to be a left-wing university. It could be a right-wing university. It still shows that the right cause more violence. That's true.
Can you give me one instance?
I don't need to give you one instance.
You tried to
Get
give me
that
two.
through your thick head.
That was wrong.
Okay, I'm sitting
But
here.
we can.
If I
my
show
thing is
you,
we can
hold
all
on,
think.
hold on.
of
If I show
instances
you,
like
right?
Charlie
If I
Kirk
show
being
you a
shot in the throat
road,
in front of
if I show you a
everybody in
road,
America,
again, talking about like
right,
the
we
flat
can
tire
think of
thing
that.
on the
What
road.
about the
If
lefties
hey,
that actually
Hold up,
hey.
let's keep it one let's keep it one at a time. Fredo, finish what you were saying and then give it back to Amanda.
I was just saying I can give you several instances like the president being shot at twice, Charlie Kirk being murdered in front of everybody in America, that leftist dude who accidentally killed 2 ICE detainees. You understand? It goes on and on and on. The list doesn't stop. You can't even name a single instance of right-wing
if I show you a
violence.
road, and I did name multiple, but regardless,
And you were wrong on both accounts.
but regardless, just to point this out, right? I'm sitting here showing you, let's say if I have that road where there's a lot of
All you're
flat
showing me
tires
is
on
the
that
data.
road, and then I say, hey, take a look at this study. It shows that there's 100,000 cars that got flat tires. And then you say, name one car that got a flat
I'm saying
tire.
your study is
I
bullshit.
did. It's 100,000 cars. The
saying your
studies
study is
show
bullshit.
100,000 cars. Yeah, but what is exactly the name of one of these quote unquote people that got a flat tire? It's completely idiotic. It actually is totally devoid of any kind of empirical thinking. You're just looking for individual instances when I'm bringing up thousands of cases and multiple studies that prove you wrong.
You know, it's really void of empirical thinking whenever I'm bringing you multiple examples of how these methodology in these cases are wrong. I've read the studies that you prevented.
What study? What study did you read? I'd be surprised if you could read it all.
I bet, huh? I just look like this motherfucker. So I read the CISIS study, the ADL study.
What ADL study? I didn't reference the ADL.
Yeah.
You read all the studies, did you? Did you read the studies that I referenced?
Did you
happen to read that paper from the Department of Justice that was quietly removed under the Trump administration for no reason whatsoever?
Like I said,
why would they do that? Why do you think the Trump administration would quietly remove the Department of Justice paper? Why do you think? Why don't we let's go ahead and rub two and two
Islamic
brain cells together
ideology
and try to figure out
All
why?
right, guys, come on. We gotta do this one at a time here. One at a time. Go, Amanda, finish what you were saying there, and then
Yeah,
give it
once
back
again,
to...
the studies already separated Islamic extremism from right-wing ideology in the United States. Multiple studies did that, including the
Not the
Department of
ADL,
Justice
not
study.
sisters.
I didn't even reference the ADL. I don't know why you're talking about the ADL. Who cares about the ADL? I, again, can provide just about any source, be it a meta-analysis. It could be some empirical source from some random university. It could be a Department of Criminology in the Department of Justice. No matter what you do, the data is against you here. That's why it is so difficult for you to come up with an actual point. You have to derive yourself into individual situations and say, see, you can't name a single point. That actually isn't, that's a total non sequitur. That has absolutely nothing to do with the relevant statistics. And as soon as I bring up relevant statistics, you say, well, that's probably a biased source because it disagrees with my worldview. It's totally devoid of any thought.
Not at all. If it agreed with my worldview and it categorized things correctly, like I said, I went through some of these studies, some studies about political violence, and most of them that are headed by the same people all use the same methodology.
Who's the same people? Who the fuck are you talking about?
Kai, what's his name from the
Is a meta-analysis a part of that?
No, it's
how many people are involved in a meta-analysis, do you think?
I don't know.
A lot, don't you think?
The people that are...
Do you think like PhDs in criminology, is a PhD in criminology, is that a viable, is that a valid source?
Sure, yeah.
Okay, so a person who sits there and spends their entire life studying these topics, that is a viable source.
Absolutely, yes.
Great. So then my sources are valid. My sources is valid. You just admitted that my source is valid.
If his sources are coming from inherently corrupt pieces of data, which are leaving out and categorizing things wrong, then how are we going to trust
as opposed to now, which is probably correct? Now that the Department of Justice isn't even investigating right-wing violence anymore, thanks to the Trump administration and their Department of Justice, including the NIJ, firing people who point out relevant statistics and then bringing in people that specifically agree with them. It's amazing. It's actually incredible. You are hook, line, and sinker in the idiot train.
I would like you to bring up the bill that says he allowed anything of the sort, and also
that's all he does. Trump does nothing but that. Why would he remove relevant studies from the NIJ? Why is that? Why does that happen?
Bro, we watched cities burn, and none of that was...
Wow, cool. Look at that. Another individual data point with no study whatsoever. Amazing. Why don't you provide me any study? Provide me any study. I have multiple studies that argue my position. Where do you get your information? If it is not just simply like your own personal anecdote or Twitter or YouTube, like, oh, Charlie Kirk died, when I'm talking about thousands of people.
Go to YouGov.net right after Charlie Kirk died. You'll see
YouGov.net
or YouGov.us.
YouGov.us? Yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
All right, so let's go to YouGov.us. Okay, that's a typo. That is not the DNS probe finished NX domain. So I guess we can't go there. Yeah, where do I go, buddy?
The link in the back. Hold on. Yeah. It shows whenever asked, do you think if it's ever justified for citizens to resort to violence in order to achieve a political goals? Democrats says yes, violence can sometimes be justified at 14% to Republicans, 6%.
Are you aware that is different? That is a different question to who is more politically violent, the left or right. Empirically speaking, it's the right. It's not even close. Pick your source. It is true across every spectrum. This is observational for decades.
Whenever the left wing people won't even keep their people in jail, let them out 11 times, won't even charge them.
Do you have a source?
The no cash bail is your source.
Do you have a source?
The no cash bail is your source.
Do you have a source?
All of the media sweeping for every... Your source is no cash bail. Your source is the media sweeping for all these criminals and everything that... It's right in your face. I don't think you
understand what you're up against here. We're going to try one more time. I'm going to try to
share my screen real quick. I'm up against your data.
yes, you're going up against data that is you're just empirically wrong about. Here, I'll show you. I'm not making this stuff up. I'm not doing this to like, I don't know, like make fun of you or whatever. What I'm interested in is what are the facts of the matter? If the data said that the left causes the violence, are you able to share my screen, Speakeazy, if you could?
I just want you to show me this violence that the right is causing.
Okay, so this is 20 separate sources. 20 separate sources. Okay, there's 20 papers. Right-wing extremists are generally more likely to engage in politically motivated violence than left-wing extremists, though both sides can exhibit violence under certain conditions. So here
now show me what is considered right-wing violence.
I mean, which one do you want? I mean, we can look at a comparison of political violence by left-wing, right-wing, and violent extremists, ideologically motivated mass shootings, a crime script analysis of far right, far left. We can go over this stuff. Do you want to go over it?
We can. I want you to show me exactly what is considered. I want you to show me exactly what is considered right-wing violence.
A comparison of political violence. Oh, you want that? Okay.
That was Islamist. I want to know exactly what's considered.
Nope, that is not what this says.
That's what that last study said. Yeah.
So although political violence has been perpetrated on behalf of a wide range of political ideologies, it is unclear as to whether there are systematic differences between ideologies in the use of violence to pursue political cause. Prior research on this topic is scarce and mostly restricted to self-reported measures of less extreme forms of political aggression. Moreover, it is generally focused on respondents in Western countries that have been limited to either comparisons of supporters of left-wing and right-wing causes and examists of only Islamist extremism. In this research, we address the gaps comparing the use of political violence by left-wing, right-wing, and Islamic extremists in the United States worldwide, using two unique data sets that cover real-world examples of politically motivated violent behaviors. Across both data sets, we find that radical acts perpetrated by individuals associated with left-wing causes are less likely to be violent. In the United States, we found no difference between the level of violence perpetrated by right-wing and Islamist extremists. However, differences in violence emerged on the global level, with Islamist extremists more likely than right-wing extremists to engage in more violent acts.
Okay.
Do you want to go over the individual data points?
No. Yeah, we will in a second. But first off, they don't even differentiate between politically motivated, like if it's motivated to present a political change, or if it's from a person of that political event. Because if you're doing that, then
I don't think that's relevant to my. I don't think that's relevant at all.
Yes, that's exactly relevant.
The reason why it's not relevant.
No. I'm going to tell you why it is relevant. Because they missed a huge data point, which is black men.
Which one is more violent, the left or the right?
Who are left leaning, who commit most of the violent crime in the country.
Okay, this is irrelevant. Is this a relevant source?
Why would they live that? Why would
is this a relevant source?
Why would they leave that?
Is the source that I referenced relevant? Is the source that I referenced relevant?
Why would they? They just said
that's a yes or no question. I don't need a why. Why is not a yes or no. Is this source a relevant source?
No, and I'll tell you why. Because they left out this huge chunk of evidence. They said they don't differentiate ideology from a person of that ideological bent. So if you're a Democrat, you're more likely to commit violent crime, because if black people are more likely to vote Democrat, and they commit most of the crime in the country, bro.
Was that a sentence? What the hell was that?
Yeah.
We didn't even go over the relevant statistics.
You didn't hear anything I just said?
It didn't make any sense. It didn't sound like a sentence that makes any sense to me. So you're telling me, okay, I just want to be clear, right?
Yes. So
you're saying that black people vote Democrat, and because black people commit most of the violence, that means the left causes most of the violence. Is that your argument?
Yes.
What about right-wing Christo-fascists? Is that part of it? What about ethno-naps? What about people that believe that the election was stolen? Are you aware of these people?
When is the last time they've committed violence? Are you going to quote
They commit it by the thousands. They do it all the freaking time. It's so common in the United States that it's not even worthy of even mentioning. It doesn't even get put on the news anymore because of how common it is.
You want to talk about man, bro. You want to talk about ICE, bro?
You know what this is? This is your worldview crashing out around you. This is why you can't actually say anything, because the data is against you here. And it doesn't matter what source that you're coming from. Dude, your response to my source was, well, black people commit crime and black people like Democrat. All you did was just argue racism and have no source to back that up. You just argued racism.
Go to FBI.gov. Like,
provide something. And also, politically motivated violence has nothing to do with people robbing things or hurting one another because of poor socioeconomic conditions.
Said that it
has to be motivated, right? They have a desire to commit violence because of their ideology.
All right, real quick, guys. Just because we've been going about 21 minutes almost on like the sources and stuff here. And I was just thinking maybe before getting into the who is more violent, one of the things I think would be good if we kind of just defined what is the political violence. Like, is it institutional coercion? Is it political intimidation, property destruction? Like, what all counts as political violence? Maybe if you guys can come to an agreement here, and then we can get into which side is worse on these.
I mean, I would say political violence is you are acting violence with a political motivation. I'm sorry, being black and then, I don't know, robbing a store or something, I wouldn't consider that political violence, unless if you want to think the death of Charlie Kirk equivocal to that. Would you say that that's equivocal?
I thought we were just agreeing on a definition, but that study was including not just political violence enacted to enforce a political ideology, but violence enacted by people who support a political ideology.
Okay, so
we can agree to the physical force in order to enact political change.
All right. So here, I'll try to share my screen one more time. Are you able to show my screen one more time? So this right here is showing abstract. The study using descriptive analysis to examine far right, far left, and jihadist-inspired ideologically motivated mass shooters, the IMMS in the U.S., 1970 to 2019. This work provides a comparison of incidence rates and shooter backgrounds, as well as the preparation, execution, and conclusion of attacks. When comparing the three IMMS types, findings indicate far right incidents were more common.
You're still talking
far
about
left shooters were largely black nationalists and jihadist-inspired shooters that had more college graduates, employed married parents during initial preparation. IMMS often leaked violent intentions and had facilitating conditions, including criminal, domestic violence, and military histories. Jihadist-inspired shooters had more planning. Far-left shooters often accessed guns illegally. During attack executions, IMMS incidents often occurred in South and involved in open space or unrestricted access locations. Jihadist-inspired shooters targeted government locations more often, while far-left incidents often occurred outside of the law enforcement scene. What?
Are you just going to read this whole time?
Well, the problem is that I can provide study after study after study that shows that you're wrong on this, that you don't know what you're talking about.
That says that I'm wrong. It doesn't show that I'm wrong.
No, but you are. You are wrong on this in the fact that the right causes more violence than the left. We know that to be the case.
And why can't you name me a single right-wing incident?
I don't need to. I could just look at data points and then based off of the entire aggregate of information. And by the way, I did talk about Nancy Pelosi as well as the two Democrats that died as a result of the
neither one of the perpetrators of either one of those situations were right-wing.
Those were right-wingers. Yes, there were. Yeah, Nancy Pelosi for sure was
Nancy
a
Pelosi was not a right-winger.
We can go over those two Democrats and how that they were politically motivated to kill them as well.
He said that Tim Walz said.
Also, FYI, bringing up an individual data point is completely irrelevant.
That's all you can go back to.
The overarching mountain of data you're arguing against.
You can literally name not one case of right-wing extreme ideology in the last year.
I just did, and it also doesn't
Neither
matter.
One of those were right-wing.
Your
Yes,
only argument was you can't name one. Why can't you name one car that suddenly lost a tire? Even though we can bring up relevant statistics that shows empirically that to be the case.
Donald Trump twice, Charlie Kirk, Nashville shooter, Aaron Danielson.
There wasn't
What are you
even a
talking about? I
left
can
winger
go
that
off,
shot
go
Donald
off,
Trump. A
go
lot
off.
of these people are mentally unhinged, crazy people because because Republicans got the brilliant idea to close down our freaking mental facilities.
They were left wing twice.
What?
Yes.
That's not true. Where are you getting that? A lot of them were not even politically motivated. They just hated Trump. Also, none of this even matters. A lot of these people had genuine mental problems. And again, these are individual data points, not arguing the overarching data point on the basis of criminology. You don't know what you're talking about. You're just bringing up an individual data point.
Are we using racial violence as a metric?
Yeah, that's part of it.
Violence?
Sure.
So what about Irina Zarutska?
What? Oh, you're talking about the Ukrainian white girl that got killed by that black guy who was mentally unstable.
Said I got that white girl as soon as he did it.
Yeah, that's mental instability. When you have somebody that's mentally unstable, and because the Republicans thought it was a really smart idea to close down all of our mental institutions in the 80s and 90s, you have instances like that. That, however, is not politically motivated. The guy had schizophrenia and had a long stint of mental health problems.
Racial violence, he said, got that white girl right after.
How is that? Is that the left? I got that white girl. Could it not be a descriptive claim? Can I say that guy with the glasses? Am I being like, I don't know.
It's the
glasses
left
phobic?
that tends to have a war on white people right now.
What? That has nothing to do with politically motivated violence. You're talking about a guy that had voices in his freaking head. He sat there and said to the court, I think that there was like an individual case where he was talking about how the demons freaking told him to. Like, come on, dude. You're talking about a guy who's got mental health problems and was just left out in the street because Republicans had no fucking answer to the mental health facilities and the closure in the 1980s. It was this idea that, we're just going to have this, we're going to have community outreach programs to instead of mental health facilities. And now you got a bunch of fucking crazy people running around that ended up killing people.
Again and again.
By the way, Irene, she was Ukrainian. Did you know that? You know who doesn't support Ukrainians? Republicans. If we actually did something about Ukraine and wanted to assist them in their victory, maybe Irene wouldn't fucking be in this country to begin with.
If it wasn't for
these fucking idiots, dude. These freaking right-wingers, they're so fucking brain-rotted, dude.
As much as I love all this, the chat can't hear you guys when this is going. So, Fredo, we'll give you the mic and then give it back to Amanda.
More so, it's the Democrat policies, no cash bail, letting everybody out time and time again. It was his 14th time out whenever he killed Irina Zarutska. And we can go, but that's not even the point. It's not just isolated
mental health facilities.
Blah, blah, blah. It's not even an isolated incident.
I'm just letting you know it's Republicans that decided to close mental health facilities.
Let him just finish up.
Look at Luigi Mangione killing the United Healthcare
Now
CEO.
That's left-wing violence. I'll grant you that.
Yeah. But
there are still thousands of cases of right-wing extremism and violence in the United States.
I don't need to.
I got the data set, Philly.
You can't. That's the
I got data set. Listen, if there's a roller coaster where I show a study that says 1,000 people died on this roller coaster in a year, and then you go, can you name one person that died in the roller coaster? That doesn't matter. I have the data. It doesn't matter. There are people that do criminology. You do not need to know a single name to understand that 1,000 people would have died in the roller coaster. What a fucking idiotic fucking argument. That's not even an argument. They're like, you can't even name one. It's only rhetoric. There is no data. You have no argument.
So let me just 1 second. Let me just try and let's try and do something here. Instead of going from like, but this study or this incident, let's talk about maybe like the patterns of the left or the patterns of the right. What's the like types of violence that we see consistently on each side, and under what conditions do these come? Let's get a little bit into that maybe. And
before we even knew the shooter, who killed Charlie Kirk, Donald Trump was already foaming at the mouth saying that it was a left-wing extremist, despite the fact that this person was mentally unstable and genuinely needed mental health. Instead of them being in a probable mental institution, before we even knew the identity of them, Donald Trump was saying that it was a left-winger that killed Charlie Kirk. We didn't even know who the fuck the guy was. Donald Trump was foaming at the mouth. Republicans foaming at the mouth. Half the time I sit there and talk with Republicans, they want a fucking race war. You could go on Twitter to just confirm that. The mountains and mountains of people, they're like, oh, look how the whites are getting replaced. Oh my God, all these Jewish people, they're trying to stop us. Oh, these people hate our Christianity. What the fuck do you think this causes? What it causes is an intense amount of hatred, an intense amount of people that are willing to act on it. And that's what ends up happening. When you have actual relevant criminology statistics, you do in fact see that there is far more right-wing violence. Also, right-wingers tend to argue in favor of wanting more violence, considering the fact that they're more fucking armed. We know this to be the case. Are right-wingers more armed, Fredo?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so then do you think that the probability of them committing more violent actions is higher then?
No, or you'd be able to name a case.
Ah, good argument. Look at you. Wow, man.
Well, anyways,
let's rub two brain cells together and realize how dumb that argument is.
So anyways, we're talking about
Jesus
patterns
Christ.
of the left and the right. So we get one.
I wish I could live in your brain. It's got to have lots of real estate, dude.
Killed in the street. And what happens? We get riots through the streets for months. Cities burned down. $2 billion in damage, at least 36 dead. You kill one of our own, we're having vigils in the streets. We're having vigils. We're praying.
Except, of course, under instances where they like killing people, right? What about that one instance of that? There was that one boy who went to a parade and murdered hundreds of people with his fucking truck.
Yeah. And he was left wing.
That was left wing, was it? Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. He was a literal fucking ethno-nationalist that also argued in favor of what was it? He was a what's the phrase for it? A sovereign citizen. A lot of these people tend to be very far right.
Left wing white haters.
No, that's not no. Sovereign citizens is overwhelmingly right wing.
Liberty and freedoms. Yes, sir.
Right wing idiots that think that they understand the justice system who end up killing dozens of people with their car.
I don't disagree with you. Yeah, they're left wing.
All right, so there's an individual case scenario. I guess I disproved you. What the fuck is this argument? The thousands of data points and statistics disagree with you. No matter what source I bring up, it is overwhelmingly the right that causes the violence. You cannot make that problem go away and you saying, oh, I need an individual case to prove it. Even though I did. I already fucking did. Hey, idiot, I already did. Hey, idiot, I already did.
Both of them have been
Did you hear what I said, idiot?
He wasn't right wing. He was left wing.
What? Yeah, he was right wing.
No, he wasn't.
He's a I don't know what else to tell you, dude. I don't know. I mean, you just have to avoid reality in order to make this work. I feel bad for you.
Source you want on that, but
and no source will ever matter, right? Because any source that I will bring up to you, it must be a biased statistic, right? I love the covering. It's amazing. You're hiding under this fucking rock. I'm telling you that you're hiding under a rock.
I'll even grant you that one case, but fucking
there was also the Nancy Pelosi case, as well as the two Democrats that died in I forget what state it was.
I don't know why you keep on saying that.
But those were both right-wing violent extremists.
The one who came after the Hortman said that Tim Walz sent him, and the other one was a fucking hippie liberal from Canada, bro.
What?
Yes. He was a hippie.
Which case are you talking about, for starters?
The Pelosi case.
What? That was a right-wing extremist.
No, he was not.
Yeah, it was.
Paul Pelosi. He's a hippie liberal dude from Canada. Absolutely.
Okay. All right. Gay as hell. So there were plots that included conspiring to kidnap Michigan Governor Gretchen Whitmer in 2020. That was a targeted attack by right-wingers, right?
I don't believe so. I don't remember that case. So
Okay. Do you think that the Proud Boys and Oath Keepers, are they violent?
yeah,
Okay. Are those right wingers?
yeah.
Okay, great. What about the Buffalo supermarket shooting? Peyton Grendon.
But what about
He was a white
Antifa?
supremacist who targeted the supermarket in a predominantly black neighborhood, killing 10 people and wounding 3 others because they were black. Is
I
that a
remember
right
that.
winger?
Absolutely. What
Okay.
about Antifa?
Now again,
Are
this
they
is
right
completely,
wingers?
now once
Are they
again,
left
right,
wingers?
bringing up individual case
Are
scenarios is
Antifa
completely
left wingers?
idiotic, by the way. It's a total waste of time. It is a non
No, it's
sequitur
not,
to the
because
actual argument. The data shows
those
overwhelmingly
entities.
the
What about
right causes the violence. That is empirically verified. You have not provided a single source or statistic to back up your point. Provide me a single authoritative source that says the left is more violent. Go.
this poll that says 14% of Democrats say that violence can be
Where is
justified?
it? Link it. Let's share it for the class, shall we?
I got you, buddy. Don't you worry about it. I gotta do it on this computer.
Oh,
Did we
I
lose him?
think he disconnected.
I asked him to provide a source
He
and he
must have
leaves.
exited by accident. Yeah, he'll come back.
Okay.
There he is. There he is. I was what I was gonna ask here is like, is it that extremists? Maybe this question for each side will help us get to get to the patterns here. Like, do the extremists at the both edges drive all the violence while the moderates are disowning it on both sides, or is it?
I wouldn't. I mean, to
something
be
else?
fair, right? In terms of like the overall total violence, like in terms of like the amount of people dead, it's relatively low. Is it higher than in most other Western developed nations? Yes. Does the rhetoric cause there to be more violent extremists? Yes. It turns out when you have millions of people listening to things like Fox News or people that are far worse who say that whites are replacing us or whites are getting replaced, or that the Jews control the media, or that Christianity is under attack, or that they're coming for your freedoms. You know, whatever it is, it's the amount of people that actually act on said violence out of 350 million people is relatively small, right? We're really talking about maybe hundreds of individual instances as opposed to the over 350 million people. Most people don't act on violence, but that's kind of how stochastic terrorism works, is that you have enough people that end up acting on it if they receive enough of the hate rhetoric that results in the terroristic actions. You will find, I don't know a single left-wing source that says for left-wingers to act on it. Me, myself, I argue on the basis of total pacifism, as in you do not act on with aggression at all, unless you have absolutely no other choice. Like, you basically need to be in a corner. There's no way that you can run. That's why I don't even consider the situation with you said it earlier, Kyle Rittenhouse, as being politically motivated. I don't believe that was politically motivated, and I saw that he actively avoided trying to commit a violent act, and so I agree with him getting off scot-free, because I watched the footage. I saw the entire information. Again, I'm not stuck in left-wing atmosphere. What I'm interested in, what are the facts? The facts show that the right wing is more prevalent in terms of violent extremism than on the left. That's true.
All right, so I believe that the patterns of the right or the left are more prevalent whenever it comes to their control over the mainstream media and their stochastic terrorism, calling people Nazis and fascists. What are you going to do whenever you believe that fascist has a hold of your country? You don't fight fascists with a vote, right?
Fascism
so
already has a hold on our country.
Exactly. And it's words like that that move people to extremism, because you don't fight fascists with votes.
What? Yeah, you can. What
I
do you
feel
mean?
like that. I feel like that's far more.
You can. You can.
If it was true fascists,
and the fact that Donald Trump's I mean, the only way that,
this is
that
far
any
more
amount of violent
inflaming
action
rhetoric,
is going to even
is the
happen is
fascism
if
and
Donald
the
Trump
Nazism
is able
and-
to get is able to circumvent the electoral process. That would probably be the only instance of. But I don't even see that happening. I think that the
Then why do you even
midterms are
say
going to
that
come around,
fascism
and I just want to let you know. The Republicans are going to get crushed. It is going to be a freaking bloodbath in terms of voting towards the Republicans. They are going to lose this. And if nothing is changed after those 2 years, then the Republicans are going to lose again. I don't know who they're going to run. Maybe JD Vance, the couch fucker.
Yeah, Just Dance Vance, number 48, baby.
Yeah. Good luck.
But no,
All right, so I'm
like
looking at your source, right?
Yeah.
I want to share it for the class, because this is fabulous, right? This is like a classic instance of just bad epistemology. Here, I'll show you right here. All right. Let me go ahead and show my Chrome. And my Chrome. Oh, okay, cool. Thank you. So it says here, do you think it is ever justified for citizens to resort to violence in order to achieve political goals? And it says here, politics. Okay. So there is Democrats, 14% saying violence can sometimes be justified, 13% saying independence. And then among Republicans, it says 6% cannot be, can it be justified, in 81%. So here's your problem with your argument. Okay, number one, regardless of whatever this is, this doesn't actually refute my statistics that the actual violent statistics regarding right-wing versus left-wing violence, it is overwhelmingly on the right. That's number one.
You haven't been able to name a case that wasn't before 2017.
Do you think that it is ever justified for citizens to resort to violence in order to achieve political goals? I could see an example where a Democrat is sitting there thinking, okay, I'm living in Nazi world where the oppressive establishment is so bad that violence is justified. I could even argue in that favor. That, however, does not mean, therefore, we act on violence on the basis of a political goal. So, number one, I get that this is a great survey, but it doesn't actually address the actual criminology statistics. Do you understand?
But you can't even provide an example that doesn't come before 2017.
I already did.
No, you have not.
I did. I listed multiple sources. There was a 2020 source. There was a 2024 source. There was a 2022 source. I provided stats.
Who was the 2024 source?
And the 2024 source. Oh, that was the Glenn Whitman one. What?
So,
let's see here. Hold on. Where the hell? Fucking. Oh, sorry. It was 2022. This was the foiled attack of Governor Gretchen Whitmer. There were individuals plotting to attack FBI offices and officers in 2022. There was. Yes, it was. Also, the January 6th Capitol attack in 2021. The Buffalo supermarket shooting in 2022. The El Paso Walmart shooting in 2019. The Pittsburgh synagogue shooting in 2018. Like, again, this is able to be found. And also, bringing up individual case scenarios is just a rhetorical ploy. It doesn't actually address the relevant criminology statistics.
I've already addressed the relevant criminology.
Yeah, you said it's
statistics.
Biased, which is not an answer.
Yeah.
The
methodology is flawed.
By the way, zero studies. None. You
The
provided a
methodology
single
of your, it doesn't
questionnaire.
matter when the
You provided a
methodology
single
of your
questionnaire
studies are
surveyed
flawed.
of 2,600
The left
U.S.
has been
adults
violent
asking
since
them
its
a
inception
question.
in the French Revolution. They've always killed millions more than the right have killed. The only time that the right fought was to gain territory
That is one of
back
the
because they
dumbest
were being
arguments I've ever heard.
overtaken
Bringing up the
in
1800s
crusades.
French Revolution as the
You're the
left
one who
versus
brought
the
up the
right.
crusades.
I
You
didn't
brought up
bring up the
crusades.
Crusades. You
It
brought
was
up
way
old
earlier.
ass
It was a
shit, and
callback.
I'm not bringing up the Crusades as an argument. You're the one bringing up
No, yeah,
France in the 1800s. You idiot.
in communism, I'm bringing up the
Oh,
1900s as
God.
well because I'm saying that the left is
I don't argue
inherently
in favor of
violent,
communism.
and
Neither
they've
do
been
most
violent.
Democrats.
It
Democrats,
doesn't matter.
left-wingers in the
It doesn't
United
matter
States
if
don't
you
even
do it.
know what
It's the left.
communism
I'm saying
is.
that the left is
Let me ask you
inherently
this,
more
right? I
violent.
answered this question. Now it's your turn to answer it, right? I'm curious
Yeah.
if you paid attention. What is
Huh.
communism?
Communism is a classless, stateless society. Whenever they
One more. Come on, you're so close.
classless, stateless society.
One more. Come on, no. Oh my God,
What are you
he's
talking
so
about? Where
close.
the government takes control of all the means of production.
Classless. No. Again,
Yeah.
you said stateless, right? So there wouldn't be
Okay,
a
yeah.
state where the government controls everything. That's what
there is,
communism.
yeah.
So it's a classless,
You think so?
stateless, moneyless society. But you'll notice I don't argue in favor of communism, nor
don't
do I
care.
argue in favor of socialism.
Is communism on the left?
I'm not is communism on the left? Yes. But it's a good
It is,
thing that
but
communism
it's
doesn't even
part of this-
exist in the United States. Like it's not really a formal party, and neither is socialism for
Yeah,
that
the
matter.
reason I was
It's
bringing up the
completely
history is to-
non-existent,
is to
right?
bring
So,
up
so
the
talking about
historical
socialism or
violence of the
communism
left,
and the
bro.
death of socialism and
You
communism
act
is
like you
completely
can't even
irrelevant.
understand.
Do I say what the deaths, the millions of deaths that happened under capitalism? Is that the right? Is the right capitalism?
No, it wasn't just under. It wasn't just people got sick. And
Okay,
they
well,
died
well,
from
there's been
individuals.
tons
It
of
was
imperialism from the
political
right. Do
violence
we argue
happened
that,
through
or do
wars
we
and
actually
famines
argue
and-
relevant
and
United States statistics?
the United States isn't right. It's classic liberal.
The United States is what's right wing to you?
What are you talking about?
Is
was
it like
right?
Christo-fascism? Is that the right?
No, we live in a democracy now. It's classical liberal. We go off of John Locke classical liberal principles.
I agree with you.
Which is further
but-
left than.
But
where
last
the
time I
middle is
checked,
now.
there is like the emphasis on the individual, and then there's the emphasis on the collective. When you have an emphasis on the collective, it tends to be more left wing. If you're on the right, you have an emphasis on the individual. That's the difference between left and right.
Yeah, and the left likes private ownership.
No, that would be if you're saying like socialists or communists, that mean it's the workers' ownership of the means of production. I don't
No, it's
argue
the
that.
private
I
ownership.
argue a private ownership of the means of production, which is capitalism. And then you have social safety nets to ensure that people who are poor, destitute, or unable to work, that they don't live destitute lives.
Which is more social, but they allow people to have a say in their government, which is far more left leaning
Than most of the United States. I agree with you, but that's beside the point.
than most.
The right does commit more violent acts in the United States. That's true.
Because your study says so, but like I
Not
said,
my
we have
study,
plenty of-
the multitudes of studies with meta-analyses from multiple universities, as well as criminology research centers. That's what you're up against.
but you can't even name.
I already
within the
did,
recent
and that's
years,
also
we have-
irrelevant.
It's not irrelevant at
Yes,
all.
it is.
You have to be able to. Whenever we
I'm
can
bringing
name
up
time and
thousands
time
of data
again-
points, and your argument is name a single data point.
So I can bring up thousands and thousands of data points too. If I look up a meta-analysis of the violent right.
Yeah, so look up a meta-analysis. Look up what the actual studies say.
And it doesn't even matter because we see it with our own eyes. We're not seeing right-wing violence
There
every
it
day.
is, see?
I'm looking it up right now. What are you talking about,
All right.
brother?
Again, if I bring up to you, right, if you drove down a road and there was 100,000 flat tires as a result of this road in the year, which is higher than most other roads, but you drove down that road and did not get a flat tire, then what you're doing is that you're using your personal anecdote to invalidate the thing that is empirically happening. So just because you haven't experienced it or that you didn't see it doesn't mean that the data isn't there and it is not relevant. There are tons of very violent right-wingers. You even argued that with the Oath Keepers and the Proud Boys.
I'm not saying that there's not tons of that there aren't tons of violent right wingers, just like you can't say that there aren't tons of violent left wingers.
I'm not arguing that there aren't violent left wingers. There are. What I'm saying is that the right is much more prevalent in their violence, which would make sense. They tend to own more guns. Let me ask you this, right? Do you find it
prevalent? What does prevalent
have
mean?
you ever heard the argument that if
people?
there was a civil war between the left and the right would win because the right has more guns? Have you heard that argument before?
Yes, that's exactly why we're not more prevalent.
So you
to
can't
violence,
have your
we've
cake and
already
eat it
been out
too,
there.
because if the right would win if there was a civil war, then wouldn't that make the right more violent?
Wouldn't the left already be dead? With all the violence,
I just won the debate. That was it. He just proved to me that
no, with all the violence that we have in the streets, you can't say that the right is more violent because there's been.
Holy shit! Wouldn't you all be dead, dude? You just did it.
How did I do it? I'm saying if it was a civil war.
I'm
and the right
clipping
wanted
that,
to act
baby.
of violence, and
I
we
am
have
clipping that. That was a wild thing to say, considering that you say that the right is less violent, but you just made a violent argument just now. I love it.
That wasn't
Incredible.
The violent argument, bro. You're strawman like a motherfucker, bro. I'm saying,
dude, you're sitting there. Dude, that was equivocal to that. If you were a vegan, that you're eating the biggest ribeye steak I have ever seen in my life.
You don't understand, bro. You said we were more prevalent to violence.
You're right. I don't understand. You're going to have to help me out. I'm stuck in like logic and reality world, and you're stuck in, well, then the left would already be dead.
Let Fredo get his point out.
You said if we were more prevalent to violence. I said if we were more prevalent to violence, wouldn't you already be dead? With given all the violence we've seen come from the left, with hundreds of thousands of y'all running through the streets.
Well, what do you know? That already happens, and the data points show exactly that. Again, you can't have your cake and eat it too. When you have it, when you believe that if there were a civil war between the left and the right, that the right would win, obviously the right is more violent. That's how that logically works. See how that works? Because you got more guns, because you have more capability to commit violent acts. And then when you observe relevant criminology statistics that they actually do commit the violence.
Shut up, bro. Jesus Christ. Do you ever shut up?
No.
If y'all were committing
violent acts dunking on right-wingers like you, bro. It's really fun for me.
If we were more violent, wouldn't we already enact violence on you?
Holy shit.
Wouldn't violence
they already do.
A long time ago?
I showed you relevant
data
statistics where that's in fact the case. Stop bringing up single data points. It's so tiring.
I'm not bringing up single data
points. You asked for a specific data point and I gave you specific data points, but that's not enough. The stats disagree with you.
You don't think that anybody's
the stats disagree with you, Fredo. You're wrong about this.
But you can't bring up a single point because
I already did.
Y'all bring up violence.
I already did.
Officers day after day after day. And it's still going on, by the way. And it hasn't stopped for over 100+ days.
Yeah. Look at you. I don't know. I don't know what I'll be honest with you. Speakeazy. I don't know what else to say to this guy. I don't think he actually has a falsification principle. I don't think there's like a way for me to, like, there's no study that I could present to him
I don't know
where
where
he
we're
would
going.
say, oh, you're right.
let's
First Amendment.
let's see maybe then if we could do this. We're in the last 6 minutes here. Why don't you guys steel man each other's argument?
Well, he's asking, he thinks that because I can't name a single point, even though I did multiple times throughout this debate, he thinks that all of a sudden the stats go away. He also was referencing that that the studies are biased. But I didn't reference one study. I referenced a multitude of study. In fact, asking a very open-ended question towards a consensus AI app to just find out, hey, what's now if it showed, studies show that a majority of left-wing violence is caused, we would be in agreement. We wouldn't even be having this discussion at all. But the fact is the studies do not argue in his favor. And from a steel manning point, I think he has a right-wing bias where he's just stuck. And any facts that prove him otherwise is just rendered null and void and therefore biased. And that's all he has. He doesn't even have an argument, unfortunately. I can't even steel man his argument because he has no argument.
All right,
Great
Fredo, why don't
steel
you
man.
steel man his?
So basically, I was gonna fuck with you, but no. So basically, he has these studies from criminologists, and he has this meta-analysis, and his data points point to a certain thing, and is irrefutable evidence because his opposition does not have data points and studies and sources to bring up to show him.
Yeah.
At least I could still man you graciously.
Yeah.
So when we talk about the left versus the right violence, are we talking about, are we comparing institutional force versus street level unrest? And like, does that change the conclusion?
I mean, it's going to depend on what particular study you look at. No matter what study you look at, it is overwhelming that it is the right. We would have to look at the individual studies and what their definition of political violence would be. I would imagine it is likely to do with, from what I've seen from most of the studies, it was basically just politically motivated acts of violence resulting in the harm of individuals. I would not probably even consider that, say, for example, BLM riots overwhelmingly was property damage, albeit that there were deaths, and that would be counted as a part of left-wing violence. I think like wrecking a business, I
But
don't
it
know if I would
wasn't.
call that like politically motivated violence. I'm not sure if I would do that. Maybe the studies did do that though.
You wouldn't include vandalism in politically
No, because
motivated violence?
because when you're talking about like a violence, like from a legal sense, what it's referring to is like the harm of an individual. It's kind of like, and I brought this up earlier. I don't think like the death of Charlie Kirk is equivocal to, I don't know, breaking a window. You know, I don't think that these are the same data point. I would definitely separate.
You want to
these
clip
two.
me, but that's an extremely violent statement.
What?
Never mind. I thought you said it would be equivocal.
No, I said it would not be. Yeah, it would
No,
not be
yeah, I get
equivocal
it,
at all. Obvious. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, right? I'm very much on the left. I'm a super wokey liberal, you know, and I argue very progressivist ideals. I'm a certified soy boy. I really am. And I'd be glad to tell you that. Did Charlie Kirk deserve to die? Absolutely not. I agree he was a hateful person. I didn't think he was a good guy at all, but that doesn't mean that, you know, he deserved to die. If that's me at least reaching out with an olive branch.
So are we not adding institutional violence like state action?
Like I said, I would have to pull up the individual study to provide that information.
You'd have to have a study.
Again,
to
I'm looking at
conclude what is
meta-analyses, and I'm looking at a
political
collection
violence.
of over 20 sources that culminate in that the right overwhelmingly causes more violence.
So, in order for it to be defined politically motivated violence, it would have to be in a study for you.
I think I'm not a criminologist, nor would I claim to have any expertise in criminology. What I would reference is relevant authoritative bodies that do the studying for me, and then I change my opinion on the basis of what scientists that are relevant in that field have studied. I think that's much more intellectually honest. And like I said, if the study said that left-wing violence is more prevalent, then I would just agree with that.
So, only case by case if it is institutionalized. So, if the institution harmed an innocent person.
I don't understand that question. Can you rephrase it?
Like if our government's policies harmed an innocent person,
No, that
innocent
wouldn't be
human being.
politically. That wouldn't be politically motivated.
Like if it just in aims of their political motivations. But we have 10 seconds. Don't even answer that. It's too long of a line, anyways.
All right. Looks like you guys are both good there. We'll wrap up the hour of open floor and move it over to the 5-minute closing statements. Quick reminder for the chat: after the closing statements, we're going to do a 30-minute Q&A. So if you want to get your questions in, there's a live Q&A in the chat there. The super chats, cash apps, and PayPals get priority. So if they fill up the whole 30 minutes, we may not get to your questions. But I don't see too many in tonight, so get your questions in, okay? With that being said, we're going to move it into the closing statements here. So First Amender, you had opening first, so you'll also get closing first. That'll give Fredo the last word. So whenever you're ready for your closing statement, I'll start the timer up with your voice.
Okay, so I'm going to just fly this off the seat of my cuff. If I apologize, I did not write something out. But basically how this whole this whole debate went is that I spent the time to research the data, to understand what it had said. And the best that I could find against my favor was that recent DOJ findings saying that the right has basically committed almost zero violence in 2025 by White House statistics. That was the closest thing that I could find. I find that very fishy, considering that is the lowest, that the number that was given is the lowest number ever reported in the past 31 years. I couldn't find earlier statistics than that. It's just that's where the data stopped, 31 years. And considering the fact, I started wondering, okay, well then why is that the case? And other criminologists agree that they believe that the data has not been adequately rendered or researched because the Trump administration is actively trying to suppress that data. That's for that year. But from 2020 to 2024, post-COVID era, indeed, the right has had much more violence than on the left, even if you include BLM protesters. And so when I present relevant statistics, the only rebuttal that I get is, well, do you know a single instance? It's not really relevant. It's not really addressing the just mountain of data that is readily available. And so it is also just obfuscating the point. The data is against you here. Regardless of how you feel about it, you have to acknowledge, if you are interested in the truth and you want to know the truth, that you change your perspective and realize that, okay, maybe there is more right-wing violence. I think if you want to have less violence overall, being aware of what the reality is and what are the underlying motivating factors is how we can live a more just and peaceful world. And that's what I have to say about that. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for that closing statement. And with that, sorry, we're going to hand the mic over to Fredo. And Fredo, whenever you're ready for your closing statement, I will start the timer up with your voice.
All right. I don't have anything written up either. I do not believe that the right does as much political violence as the left. We can see all the violence that the left has explicitly covered up right before our eyes. And in the studies I've read, admittedly, it may have not been the same studies he presented, but I know some of them have gone into the meta-analysis. Those numbers were skewed due to bias and due to categorization and problems with the methodology. And I think that's evidenced by the fact that he can't name a single recent right-wing piece of violence, no matter if he wants to take that as evidence or not. And if it's true that Republican right-wing violence has been 0%, which I too agree that that's probably pretty fishy. But if that's true, that pertains to the categorization of his current state of being, the left is more violent than the right now. So with that, I'll end my time.
All right. Thank you for that closing statement, Fredo. And with that, we're going to move it over to the 30-minute Q&A. Before we do, though, I usually have a question for each side before we start up the timer for the Q&A. So we'll start with the right side here. When there is right-wing actors that do commit political violence, what is the how would I put this? What is the way that the right addresses it compared to the left that makes it less on the right?
What do you mean? Oh, I think most right wings condemn it fully. Not you have your certain actors and certain extremists that might say some things even publicly like that are in favor of it, but that's far and few between. Political violence just isn't celebrated on the right, I feel, like it is on the left.
All right. And did you have anything for that, Amanda?
I didn't understand the question. I was hoping you were going to ask a different question. Can you,
Yeah,
one more time?
I was basically
asking.
Yeah, I kind of like broke it up quite a bit. So, when the right wing actors do commit violence, what do right wingers do to address it that makes it less violent on the right?
I think there's like a lot of race rhetoric. There's a lot of rhetoric that's designed to create like a semblance of tribalism. I remember right wingers when they kind of just argued austerity policies. And I just think that, and what that means is just government get out of the way. That's all that means. Let the free market decide. I think if you try to push for tribalism, that it does increase violence. And that's, to be honest, though, it's a lot of tribalistic notions. They come across when there are poor socioeconomic conditions. And post-COVID, everybody has been, things have gotten worse for a lot of people. And so it doesn't surprise me that you have an increased amount of tribalism among the right, because they want to point at something that's wrong in the world. And I think that's also true for left wingers, albeit less prevalent. And I think what we can do is try to push away from tribalism on the right, as well as even on the left.
All right. Thank you for that. And then, so what I'll do is, for another one for the right here, is that if political violence often emerges when people feel like culturally threatened, how does the right's narrative of demographic or ideological replacement shape its own risk for violence?
I say that it shaped. Oh, I'm sorry.
No,
Was
no,
that
go ahead.
for
I
Amender?
think it's for both of us.
Well, yeah, it's for you first, and then I'll let Amanda address it too. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like it shapes it much in the way the left's rhetoric is Nazi and fascist. You know what I mean? Only to a lesser degree, because I think the right understands that there's a time for war, and mostly Christian, we have a culture of every man is made in the image of God. So we're slow to kind of get to the point of violence in most cases.
All right. And do you have something for that, Amanda?
I mean, again, like you're talking about, the creation of tribalistic tendencies. I mean, I brought up the Waukesha shooter, who specifically did it because he thought that they were being replaced by black people. And again, it's those tribalistic notions that result in, I believe, for example, great replacement theory being very harmful to the United States. If you believe in that, you're only a couple of steps away from committing a violent act.
All right. Thank you for that. And then my question that I'll start with you, Amanda, first is if protests and civil disruption come as like political tactics, for the left, how do you distinguish between a justified resistance and a reckless escalation?
Yeah. So I'm on the left, and I'm going to tell you, I don't agree with any amount of property damage. And I will tell you that the left commonly invokes property damage far more than the right. I do not espouse that. I do not say, I believe that in order to have a functioning society, you need to have the ownership of private property and the respect of that. And if it is not respected, then you basically have an erosion of the entire social system. So I push against that concept entirely. But if you're referring to violent action as in a physical harm of individual human beings, it is overwhelmingly the right. Empirically speaking, the right does cause more violent actions.
All right. And did you have something for that, Fredo?
No, I would just say that on the right would probably have to reach an egregious form of violation of what they would see as rights.
All right. So then my second question to start with, Amanda, is that one of the things that we hear on the left often is the emphasizing of systemic power or oppressions, but then we see sometimes, like how you mentioned, like the institutions and property damage being done. So how do you address like the critics who would say this actually alienates the public and undermines your message?
I believe that poor socioeconomic conditions is what causes people to establish tribalistic notions or engage in a form of tribalism, which leads to violent action. And this is not just, specifically for blacks, for whites, it's everybody. If you have poor socioeconomic conditions, then you end up with poor results. People have less trust in the system when the system is not working for them. This is in fact prevalent. You can look, for example, in the Bible Belt, where you have higher rates of crime. And this is even among a white population. This is because of establishing poor socioeconomic conditions, having poor educational outcomes, and not being able to get ahead in life. And I personally believe a lot of these things are resolved by establishing social safety nets where people can potentially climb up or have a higher probability of climbing up, which would result in there being less tribalistic ideas.
All right. Thank you for that. And Fredo, did you have anything for that?
Could you repeat the question again?
Yeah, so what I had asked was like, so we hear on the left how it's often emphasized about systemic powers and oppressions, but then we see things like how the left wing will, when there is these riots that often target institutions or property. So I asked, how do you address the critics who say this actually alienates the public and undermines the message of the left?
Oh, I see. No, that's how it feels. I'll let it ride.
All right. Thank you for that. And then, so we are gonna get into the 30-minute Q&A chat. You still have time to drop some questions in there. We only have a few super chats to go through, so get your questions in, chat. We'll start this timer up now. And let me see. The first things we got here is a couple of new members. One, Sniper Ice Shadow, and next one, Tiny Pink Nuggets of Chaos. Thank you to you both. I appreciate that big time. Then we got a $20 from FB, says, is more violent. The left, obviously. All you have to do is take a look at society. Anyone who says right is more violent is just coping or lying. A paper written by the left is going to have a bias towards the left. Any of you got something for that?
I mean, the problem is that no matter what university I go to, or the Department of Justice, or the National Institute of Justice, or a Department of Criminology, it's the right. We have to acknowledge what the facts are. I understand that you could say you could look at society, but the numbers don't show that. And so I'm going to be in favor of the numbers than a personal anecdote. I don't think that I can personally experience thousands of individual data points that culminate into a single meta-analysis. I would only be able to look at a very small handful. This is exactly the problem with the argument of, the road that has a bunch of nails on it. If you drove down that road and every time you drove down that road, you didn't get a flat tire, well, that's great. But 100,000 people did. So we have to acknowledge what the facts are. And again, if the study showed that the left causes more violence, then I would just have to acknowledge it. I would just move on. It's that simple. But for whatever reason, the right just looks at things that disagree with them and they go, well, it must be wrong. And it's like, okay, well, you have no falsification principle. It's just devoid of any logic or reason.
Yeah,
All
so
right.
you're absolutely
You got
right.
something? There you go.
You're absolutely right. Higher academia and all these institutions are captured. Didn't want to go to tinfoil hat during the debate, but you know what I mean? If it's written by the left, it's going to favor the left.
All right. Thank you for that. Next one we got from Call Me GL. Communism exists in modern America. You closeted puke. They donated and sponsored No Kings. Look at a flyer.
I mean, if exist fringe groups of communists, I agree with you. I guarantee you there's a hell of a lot more Proud Boys than communists. And there are a hell of a lot more.
They don't have as much influence. It was AOC in them. It was
AOC
in them.
is a communist. No, she's not.
Yeah.
Where did you get that?
Their little communist group. Yeah.
Yeah. Wanting progressive politics is not communist. Right? I argue in favor of a Netherlands model that lead to better outcomes, not the workers' ownership of the means of production. It's a total straw man of my position, and it is just an ad hominem in a demonization in order to circumvent statistics that is readily verifiable, and you can
I never
look it
called
up
you
yourself.
a communist.
I know he didn't. I said that this guy, he said calling me, saying communism exists in modern America. Not really. It really doesn't. It's like basically non-existent.
All right. We got 5 gifted memberships from Prince of Dogs. Thank you very much. Appreciate that big time, and welcome to all our new members. Then we got a $5 from Prince of Dogs. Said, did you only search up studies in your favor? How is that not bias?
So what I did is I asked a simple open-ended question to consensus.app, which is an AI aggregate analytic tool that specifically analyzes not just studies I agree with, but all studies. And the studies that were relevant out of 20 separate studies regarding who is more violent, the right or the left, it is in fact the right. And I asked it a very open-ended question. I did not lead it in any way, shape, or form. I gave you my prompt. You can go to consensus.app yourself and see that the studies are not in agreement with you here. So yeah, it's not biased.
All right. Did you have anything for that, Fredo?
No.
All right. All right. So that's it for super chats. For now, we're going to get over to the other the live Q&A questions. Again, chat, if you want to bump yourself up, though, feel free to send a super chat. First question comes in. It says, for First Amender, can you name one legitimate confessional or Orthodox church that teaches, promotes, or dogmatizes Christ fascism? Also, provide a concise definition of Christofascism.
Yeah, the Westboro Baptist Church. There are also numerous churches that argue very much in favor of Donald Trump. And the reason why is because they want to be able to push, they want to revoke the concept of the separation of church and state and make Christianity the dominant religion, not only represented in modern life, but also represented in government as well. I am fundamentally against that. Fredo pointed out the Lockean perspective, which I'm in perfect agreement with. Our founding fathers walked away from extremist religious organizations, and we ourselves fought it throughout the Puritan ages, pre the United States. It was very clear that the founding fathers were very much in favor of a separation of church and state. And when I say a Christofascist, I mean that your Christianity is not only protected by the United States Constitution, but it's pushed regardless of whether or not that somebody is a Christian. That would be Christofascism.
All right. Next question comes in from Teriak. Says, for First Amender, do you consider the Christian school pew pew by a trans a right-wing or left-wing attack?
Typically left-wing.
All right. Did you have anything for that, Fredo, or you good?
No, I agree.
Okay. Next one comes in from Even Lord. How does damage of a person, hospital bills, compare to damage to property, cost of item, and the cost to repair if it can be repaired?
I'm sorry, can you repeat it? I was talking with a chat for a second. My
No
apologies.
worries. No worries. How does damage of a person, like the hospital bills, compare to damage to property, cost of the item, and cost to repair it if it can be repaired?
Yeah, this is what I'm saying is I would provide a difference between, destruction of property, between destruction of a person. When I'm referring to violence, I'm not referring to destruction of property. I suppose that but again, I would have to look at individual studies to show, okay, well, what is their exact methodology and then see if they refer to property damage under the basis of, I guess, that being violent. I don't know. I would have to look at the individual studies on that.
Yeah, I agree that there needs to be a distinction, but I do believe that in a lot of cases, property damage can be considered as political violence because intimidation, use of force through intimidation is one of the definitions. So I believe that $2 billion in property damage is an awfully lot of political violence.
All right. I was going to give a follow up on based off that question, but you both answered it, so it was perfect. I was seeing a little separator there that Fredo, you seem to include that the property damage and all of that also is included with political violence, and that First Amender leaves that part out and says if we're talking basically just like people being hurt. That's why he says the right is more violent. So I'm seeing the separator here now as these questions are getting answered. That's that's what we do the Q&A for. Next question that comes in from Rev Russ. First Amender, can you name? Oh wait, no, that we just read that one. That was the first one actually I read. Alpha Eagle says, does First Amender want more laws to reduce free speech regarding stochastic terrorism?
I personally do. I think that there needs to be a level of responsibility when you have millions of viewers, that you should be held responsible for the things you say and how people act on behalf of the things you say. I think it is important. There is cutoffs, for example, in European countries where they hold, for example, social networking websites accountable for what exactly that they're platforming. I understand that it seems like that it is a reduction of people's freedom. I just believe that your freedom stop at where your fist meets my nose. If we can show that it is just causing harm, we have to ask ourselves whether or not that freedom is worth that additional harm. And I believe instances of stochastic terrorism, the bar would be relatively high, and we should just reconsider it.
All right. Did you have anything for that, Fredo?
Yeah, no, I don't think it would be hard to try to prosecute it on a situation to situation basis. If there were some clear guidelines I could see, maybe I could go for it, but I'm not sure at this time.
All right. Next one comes in also from Alpha Eagle. Have Dems ever cheated in elections in recent history? Cheating includes no voter ID laws, charging voting laws, mass mail-in ballots, gerrymandering, and so on.
The answer is no.
All right. What do you think, Fredo?
What was the question?
No worries.
Don't repeat all this stuff, but
yeah, no worries. I can go through it. Have Dems ever cheated in elections in recent history? Cheating includes no voter ID laws, charging voting laws, mass mail-in ballots, and gerrymandering, and so on.
Yeah, absolutely.
I had a feeling that would be the answers. So, and then we also have another one from Alpha Eagle. Says right wing are less violent because we have more guns. That proves right wingers have nothing to fear because the right feels more secure because the right are armed, right?
I mean, you can't have it both ways, right? The right is more armed, but somehow the right is also not more politically violent. Like, and you're literally arguing in favor of like arming yourselves on the basis of what? A civil war between the left and the right, where the right would win against the left. It's very clear to me that it's that there's a bit of a problem with your thought process here.
weren't explicitly armed for a civil war with the left, and the fact that we are so armed, and you see such little political violence from the right, shows how not prone to violence we are.
All right. So then next one also comes in from Alpha Eagle. Alpha Eagle went on fire right here. So no studies
Please
are
tell me he's
biased.
super chatting these things. He will not. He will be nonstop. And
No,
by the
these are
way, he
live
sounds
Q&As.
just like this. You should check out his YouTube channel. He does. He really
No,
does sound like that.
Alpha Eagle though says so. No studies are biased. First Amender. The
He
left
never said that.
controls academia.
Okay,
So
so
I
the
think they're
Department of
both
Justice is also
questions.
biased as well in 2024. Like, I have also brought up nonpartisan think tanks as well. So it doesn't even matter. It doesn't matter what study I provide. You're just going to say it's biased because it disagrees with your worldview.
All right, all right. And then we got Abe Dinkus sends in, how can we trust studies that group things like the Oklahoma City bombing, or Oklahoma, right? Yeah, Oklahoma City
Yeah.
bombing into the date as right side political violence and don't count violence of leftist rioting?
The Oklahoma City bombing.
Yeah. Timothy McVeigh.
I mean, again,
Yeah.
it is very possible that they did. Again, I was referencing multiple studies. I would have to look at the individual methodology. I'm just saying what seems to be intuitive on my end. I don't know exactly what the studies, what every single study said and considered to be violence versus not violence. I mean, we could comb through the data. It'd be horrifically boring. But again, overwhelmingly, just about every single study is in agreement that the right causes the violence.
But that's what I was saying earlier is I've only dove into a couple of studies, but there's clear examples of like categorization and methodological issues. I'm not saying I've dove into every study on the meta-analysis, but from the little research I was able to do preparing for this.
All right. All right. We got Kokomo sends in why are you gay?
Why am I gay?
Why are you gay?
I don't know. I like freedom a lot.
You are gay. Why are you gay?
I like freedom a lot.
Thank you, Kokomo, for the $10 super chat. Then we got next one comes in from a re-examination show. What is the right-wing equivalent of seizing the means of production by any means necessary?
I don't know.
Backing
Probably
up
like probably like the idea of white genocide would probably be a really good one. That would easily cause the death of millions if everybody believed that.
Why would the right want a white genocide?
So what they would do is that they would want to have their white utopia. And so they would physically move all of the brown people or people who are considered to be brown, but then realize that most people don't want to be physically moved.
The whites would genocide everybody else? You're saying that the whites would genocide everybody else?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, stuff like that has been done in the past, so that's not a far stretch.
All right. And then the next one we got from Evenlord says, is it anti-Semitic to recognize who owns majority of mainstream media as less than 1% of the population and we're allegedly discriminated against?
So
no.
Well, I think it is because it doesn't really address why that reason is. So number one, if you're talking about financial institutions, that is true that Jews are overrepresented, but that was because in the Middle Ages, usury or what was considered interest loans, that practice was deemed as sinful behavior on both Islamist as well as Christian people, which left Jewish people
that's why they're overrepresented.
The option to that would be why
Uh,
that they would be represented there. There is also the fact that Jewish culture tends to emphasize very heavily high-end degrees with a good amount of educational outcomes, which does lead to higher paying jobs and overrepresentation in top industries such as media. This, however, does not have some sort of a Jewish conspiracy theory that is there to say that the whites are there replacing us and providing us the goy slop or whatever nonsense right wing.
the Asians study real hard. Why aren't they overrepresented?
They are
The
represented.
Asians, I said overrepresented
They are.
in media and the banks. I said over.
I mean, the banks is because of the usury thing. And in terms of the media, I don't know. I would have to look up why they're not as represented in the media.
All right. Well, it looks like we don't have any more questions.
I had
from
a
the
few questions
chat.
from my chat. It's not that many.
Yeah, go ahead. We have some time.
Right. This is question number 1. What would it take for Fredo to be convinced to our perspective? It seems that nothing is satisfactory evidence. This is
Like I
Shifted.
said, if I could find some stuff with some good methodological background and found some studies that weren't biased and didn't have connections to people that probably would want that answer doled out, then that would probably be satisfactory enough for me.
From JI99A James saying, when does the timelines start on which side is more violent?
I'd say the French Revolution.
Okay. From which 0122 asking, are you stoned?
Not at all. I haven't smoked in months. I wish for this debate.
Crazy.
Shit.
All right. From Bobro, name 5 individual cases of left-wing violence and back it up that they are actually left-wing.
5 individual cases. Okay, let's start with the trans Tennessee shooter. She left a manifesto backing it up. Let's do the Aaron Danielson shot him in the middle of the street because he was a Trump supporter. Let's see, Charlie Kirk and 2 assassination attempts on Donald Trump.
All right.
All right. Is that it on your side there?
That's all I got.
All righty. Well, then I think Legolas, you said you had a question. I don't see it in the Q&A here. If you want to just type it real quick. I guess the words I used were against TOS. Well, yeah, that'll happen. They'll probably not let you type it. So just try not doing that. Well, I guess that's okay. We can wrap up the Q&A there. Oh wait, now we got one more here coming from the original vintage. Says, if the right has the monopoly on guns but doesn't use them to systematically take out the left, how are they more violent when they aren't actually doing this?
So when you look at empirically, like the right-wing violence versus left, it is overwhelming that the right causes the violence. It is also true that more prevalence of guns does also increase violence. This is empirically verifiable. You can look at prevalence of gun ownership in most European countries in comparison to the United States, which has a much higher prevalence of gun ownership. Gun violence is up in the United States than in comparison to Europe. I mean, again, you could just look at the stats are not in agreement with you here.
All right. All righty. So with that, then we'll wrap up the Q&A portion of the debate. First off, I want to say a big shout out to everybody who sent in questions and super chats. All that support helps me keep the debates coming for you all. All right. And also, big shout out to both the debaters for coming out and testing in their ideas in the arena. And remember, it takes, whether you agreed or disagreed, okay, it takes more than you know to come out and do this in front of a live audience. So make sure you go both, show both debaters support, okay, and you can find them both in the description. Are you both staying for the after panel, or?
I'm going to be taking phone calls on my end, so I'm
Okay.
going to be dipping out.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you very much.
All
I'll
right,
stay
all right,
for
no
a little
problem.
bit, but I don't know how long.
Okay, yeah, no problem, no problem. So again, I want to thank you both for
But-
coming out tonight. Um,
Thanks
so
for having me.
By the way, if anybody wants to come in and question me, check out my channel. I'm about to open up the phone lines, and
There
so
you go.
you can just call right in, and I'll talk with you.
yeah, and you can find him right in the description. So you guys can run over there and get your questions in. All right.
Thank you.
And again, if you've sorry, what we're gonna do here is I'm gonna run the debate outro. That'll run for about 3 minutes. That'll give time for the Fredo, myself to go take a piss, get a drink, whatever, you know what I mean? And give you guys time to do that as well. I'm going to drop the link for the open panel in the chat while this outro is going. And that'll give you a chance to get up on to the panel. And if you've enjoyed what you've seen tonight, make sure you subscribe to the Speakeazy show so you don't miss more debates just like this one, Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. And again, big shout out to the debaters for coming out tonight. And we'll see you all in a few minutes.
Thank you all very much. I'm not sticking around for it. Bruh. All right, so hang tight. Hang tight. Just give me a quick second. I'm gonna use the bathroom. Grab something more to drink. I've been drinking a lot of water. That's why I'm going to the bathroom so much. Just hang tight. The phone numbers, which says, God, Amender looks so red. The phone numbers are going to be up in very shortly. Let me also get the phone number up here. There we go. Got that. Okay, we got the numbers. The numbers are up, chat. Just hang tight. My phone number isn't up yet. But I'm going to pull up open phone. I'm just going to a quick bathroom break, quick grab a drink. I'll play some Final Fantasy X music while you wait. So just hang tight. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be taking calls momentarily. So let me just FFX music. Let me see here. FFX. You got to love good old fashioned FFX music. See here. Let me see. Is this gonna Xanarkand? Ah, very nice. All right. Enjoy for the moment. Just give me a sec. Oh boy. Okay. We're back. Yes, we're taking calls. Let me make sure my phone is working. Yeah, I think we're good. Yeah, just call in. Call in. I don't think I'm gonna play a game because I think I've only got like, you know, maybe 20 minutes in me. Then I gotta go to bed. Let's see. Let me I don't know if that's too loud. Do you guys like the Final Fantasy music? I love it. It sounds good. We're just taking some quick calls. Call in. All right. I mean, if I don't get any calls, then I'll just go to bed early. Fuck it. I don't care. Hopefully tomorrow I have a cheat day. Today was a diet day. I ate very little. I think I ate there's some broccoli, some chicken, and some mushrooms on top with a little bit of gravy. And I had a salad and coffee. That's what I had today. Let's see. Come on, callers. This is 50. Come on, callers. Oh, boy. That's okay. If there are no callers, I don't mind. Excadriller says, First Amender is going to react to Nick Fuentes and Pierce Morgan. That's a great video idea. I should probably do one of my video reaction videos similar to the my reaction with what was his face? Oh shoot, I don't know why I'm blanking on his name. Alpha Eagle. Let me see. Total Watch Vids saying, I did wreck you in this and I didn't know the difference between the DOJ and DOCJ. Not even Google could save you because you couldn't get your query right. Okay. JI99 James says, who was that Fredo guy? No clue. I don't know. We can Google him. Let's see. Fredo. What's his name? Fredo? Fredo. What was the full name? Fredo what? I didn't even acknowledge this guy, bro. Fredo what? I don't know. Fredo is a new guy. This was his first debate. Okay. Hey man, everybody's got to start somewhere. Be cool if he I don't know, he sounded kind of he didn't sound like that he was experienced. Right? Like, I've been there and, you know, done it, you know, so I can come off as very aggressive, not letting the other person get a word in. And, you know, I suppose that this could be a very negative thing, but I guess like what's annoying, I realized that there was no semblance of a good faith argument because he was just ignoring stats. He's like, it's biased. And so it doesn't matter what information I provide him. He's just like, well, can you give me an individual instance? He didn't actually have an argument. There was no argument. In this debate hosted by I Am Speakeazy between First Amender and Fredo Fonzarelli, who do you think is and did perform better and made most convincing arguments? Come on, First Amender, say First Amender. 3 people voted. 3 people. All right, come on. Y'all should vote here. Vote and react to World War debate. JN99 James says, Amender should come across as more humble, in my opinion. The escalation was almost always on you for... It was. I'll be objective about it. Yeah, I was aggressive. But just because I'm aggressive doesn't mean I'm wrong. It's just, I don't know. I'm like that guy sometimes. Total Watch Vid says, nah, bro, I was talking about your self-righteous mod who hijacked the chat during your whole debate. Hey, don't dog on Bobro. Bobro hardly mods at all. Which says, Amender can be a little catty. We all know this. It's why we love him. I can be a little bit of a bitch. Just saying. By the way, we are taking calls. The phone number is 202-998-5218. You want to call in, have a discussion about the debate? Or, I don't know, maybe you felt about something? You know, I'd love to hear about it. Oh, boy. The Speakeazy show. Jan99 Jibs has spoken like a guy who's never been in enough fight. I have been in enough fight. In my teenage years. I was a mean little fucker. And I was short. I was like little. And I was squirrely. Man, I would punch people. I would find people after school. Awful times. I don't look on it with any level of positivity. I'm just a different person now. I'm a completely different person. You know, I've just become much more pacifist as I've gotten older. I've gotten more rounded, I suppose. You know, I remember getting punched in the face, but no, it would just make me fight harder. I'd be even more angry, you know. Excadriller says, yeah, first won that debate. AWOL says, First Amender, I'll go ahead and say you actually won your debate in my view, but Alpha Eagle hit you with some good questions. Did he? That's pretty funny. I am taking some calls. I mean, if I don't get any calls in the next 15 or so minutes, I'll dip. But I hope you guys liked this. I thought it was a pretty good debate, honestly. AWOL says, give the people 5 minutes to find your channel. Yes, exactly. J99 James says, I'll give it to First. He had no credible pushback. It's true. He didn't really have anything. That's pretty interesting, though. Let me see here. Oh, dude, wait. I'm actually getting more votes in my favor here. What the fuck? J99A James says Fredo was not on the same frequency. AWOL says, see, Bobro, this proves it. A lot of us normally disagree with First, but we've also agreed that he won this debate. So I guess we're all not biased and haters. I've started to notice people came in as a hater. I hate this song. Next one. People came into my channel initially as a hater, but I'm starting to think that people are starting to warm up to me. Like, I come off as super brash right in the gate. They're like, I gotta hate this guy. But then if you get to know me, I promise, you realize, okay, maybe he's not such a bad guy. You get to understand me and what makes me click. You know, what makes me upset, what makes me not upset. I think you end up being less of a hater, more of a fan, you know. That, by the way, FYI, that's also true in my friendships. when people first meet me, they immediately hate me. But, you know, you get to know me. They're like, okay, you're not a bad. JI99A James says, Amender's debate tactics work for YouTube. Most people do not have that blood sport tendency like Amender. Anyone right wing, and he goes ape shit. Congratulations, I've received 1,000 messages today with the restream chat. That's cool. To watch vid says yes it is. Let's see, JI99A James says it's like arguing with my wife. Alright, so get this, right? I was pondering this, thinking, like, what would happen, right? Because I'm going to be growing my hair long. I'm going full Jesus cut. You're going to see the hair down to here, man. You're going to see it. And I was like thinking, I was like, what if I showed up on stream wearing full makeup? Would you unsub? Would you unsub? That's a genuine question. Hold on. Here, I'll make that a poll. All right. All right, here we go. There it is. 100%. Oh my God, everybody's saying they would unsub. Damn. That bad, huh? Son of a bitch. Exka says, nah, don't look like moist critical. I don't know. I want to go for it. I want to go for it. Yes, I would unsub. 80% saying they would unsub. That's hilarious. Now you're going to make me want to do it just to spite you. I like that freedom, baby. I like it. I like the freedom. No, that's okay. You won't. It's fine. I'm just playing with the idea. Well, it doesn't look like we're getting any calls today, but that's not a problem. We will get some calls. Thursday, I'm going to release some more shorts. My shorts are doing pretty well, actually. I'm getting, over 1,000 views per short. Not bad. I like that. Bobro says, I don't care what you do, Amender. I appreciate that. I am the only loyal fan. JI99A James says, AWOL, I spent my day maintaining infrastructure and my wife wants to complain why I didn't tell her we were out of eggs. I maintain IT infrastructure. Let's see. Amender needs to add another day on his streaming calendar. Probably. Problem is that, like, I would get, like, exhausted. I just kind of go in when I, like, there's like the, okay, I am showing up on this Thursday, ensuring 100% I'm showing up. And then there is the, just unprompted, hey, it's the weekend. I got time to kill. Let's do a stream. And I think I'm pretty happy with that. If this were my full-time job, then yeah, gladly. I'd do streams all the time. It would be consistent. You know, I wouldn't mind doing streams because I'll be honest, it doesn't feel like a job to me, right? Like doing these streams and stuff. But I'm nowhere close to being able to pay the bills. Nowhere close. It's not happening, right? It's going to take me several years before that's even remotely an option. But I mean, I suppose if you are interested in me getting to that point, you know, consider becoming a member or tossing a super chat my way. Stuff like that is what enables me to get one step closer to full-time streaming. Let's see here. To watch vids says DOCJ is how people learn to become part of the DOJ or other federal agency once they get a degree, dude. I don't know about that. I'm not sure. AOL Thought says, okay, to pump your brakes, you're not there yet. You're tolerable. Calm it down. Calm it down. What? Pump my brake. What? JI99A James is not that interested. You know, I've always noticed that my debates, like my chats, they always end up with like a separate conversation. Oh man, I just got 14 people watching now just as I'm about to go to bed. Damn it. JI99A James says, I'm just here to watch you red pill your way back to the right. Oh, bruh. That would be hard. That would be very difficult. I've seen too much. I've read too much. Have you seen my book lists? It's a big book list. I mean, there would have to be some pretty serious changes. Excadriller says, nah, spending money on First Amender is like buying money for chips that you never eat. Why do you hate me? I'll get there one way or another. Watch me. Watch me. I'll get there. One day I will get to the point where it's like, hey, this is a livelihood, right? I gotta like, I mean, I'm already going to be reporting any taxable income earnings from this, but when I do, you know, I'll let you know. I'll be like, hey guys, I made it. Jan and James says, can you do a movie night? I got some documentaries we can all watch. Problem is I'd like to do something like that, but the problem with that is that it would get copyright stricken like right away. Let's see here. AWOL says, I'm pretty certain that you wore makeup throughout the whole stream. Your debates will be even more contentious than they are now. Kind of hard to respect the person. Is it really? I mean, here's the thing. I'm a big freedom guy. And, yeah, I don't give a crap. I'll put on makeup. Who cares? What are you going to do? I just be like, fuck it. I'm going for it. You know? Hey, 50 says, cheers to Amendra's success. Thank you so much, 50. That's very, very nice. Thank you so much. You super do not have to do that, but I really... Why didn't the noise go off? The noise normally goes off. What the fuck? Thank you so much, 50. I really appreciate that very much. Pepper, what you doing, duties? Okay. Give me a sec. I gotta heart it. Oh, my cat. Thank you so much, 50. That's very nice of you. Can I ask you something? 55. Why is this 55? Is your name in reference to that one really, really, really old Flash online that's called 55? My IQ is 55. You must pay. 5 plus 5 is 50. 50 is 50. It's 55. Shiggity schwa, shiggity schma. Is it? Are you referencing that, or am I just too? Let's say hello to Pepper. I'm sorry. Let's look at the dirties. Alpha, you and Sithis are on a Mender's shit list. Okay, Alpha is not on my shit list. Neither is Sithis. 55 says, yes, albino black sheep. That's awesome. My cat is very much enjoying the pets. Look at her. She's so happy. There she's licking. Is everything good? Ow, don't bite. She wants more pets. That's what she's like this. Bobro says, I thought she was referencing Rick and Morty. That's funny. No, you gotta look at, here, I'll Pepper. Ow. Do you want more pets? No. Ow. Stop it, dudes. All right, here, I'll do this 55 thing, and then we'll reconvene, I suppose. Hold on. Let's see here. Ow! Pepper! Stop it. All right. This is back in the days when we here. Okay, here we go. We're gonna play this together. Dude, if I get struck for this, I'm gonna be so upset. Like who the fuck is gathering royalties for this? All right, here we go. Man, I have not. Hold on. Where's my Chrome? Oh, Chrome. All right, here we go. Ready?
Hey, little girl. Did you want to know a secret? 'Cause I know one and it is so good to hear it. You want to know what it was? All right, I'll tell you what it was. I know how to count all the way to 55.
By the way, this is what we, as kids, were watching. Early internet, like 2003. This is peak 2003 humor.
And I will tell you how to do it faster than you can say poopty poopty pants. You ready to hear it, baby? All right. Schwan. 2. 2.5. 7. 14. 21. 27 half. 27. 37. What you say?
It's been It's been so long since I've seen this. It's been so long. This is like so old.
55. Girlfriend's age. 55. My IQ. 55. You must pay. 5 plus 5 is 50. 55. 55.
Why did we like this as kids? We like make fun of We make fun of like all of like the Gen Alpha and Gen Zers by going like 6 or 7. And meanwhile, we're sitting there in class like 55, shiggity shrag, shiggity shroud, 55.
Come on, girl, when you add 5 plus 5. Come on, girl, 55, do that 55. Come on, girl, shake your butt, you ex. 55, 55, now let's do the sex. Come on. Shiggity, shiggity, shroud, shiggity, shroud. 55, shiggity, shroud, 55.
Why?
Shiggity, shroud, 55, 55. Come on, girl, 55. What you say, come on, girl, 55. 55. Shiggity,
Excadriller says, this is why you're bad at math.
what you say? 55. Cannot hear you. 55. My ear can 55. Do it.
It's such a stupid thing.
55.
This is what everybody was doing. Like they were fucking around with Flash and stuff. Like, oh yeah, this is what, you know, that's funny. Alpha Eagle, saying that nice to know that you hate. All right, y'all. It's 11:05. I got work in the morning. Yeah, believe it or not, I actually have a life. I don't. I have work and then this and then partying with my friends in VR. That's my life. I don't mind it. It's actually a pretty good life. I got a house. Killing it. I got a green screen. Look at this green screen. This fucking green screen. Do you guys want to see my unmade bed before I go to bed? It's unmade. What do you even do when the bed is unmade, huh? I got a painting? That's my painting. All right. I'm just fucking around. All right, y'all. Everybody have a good night. If you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. I'm a very small YouTuber. So any amount of engagement, it's huge for me. It really is. And dude, we're on the road. We're on the road to 1,000 subs. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. And then after that, I suppose I have to get more subs. But it's going to be cool. All right. Thank you all very much. Stay tuned for more. And yep, you have a great rest of your day. I'm going to be releasing more shorts and more lives and all that good stuff. Have a great rest of your night. Bye-bye.